Pulse intro. Yes. Yes, it worked perfectly.
Really?
My plan has been a success.
God damn it, man.
Anyone who's tuning in on my stream, watching this early, I just ruined Jake's intro for the 1,000th time in a row.
Look what you have done to him, man.
Woo!
Look what you have done.
This is the 50th crisis he needs this week.
Chihuahua's getting angry.
Starts like getting fucking boiling red. Okay, I'm sorry. You can do your intro.
God,
Boom! Impulse.
I'm sorry.
Boom! Impulse.
Welcome to the CasterSquared podcast, episode 9. How many episodes are to a season, by the way, for Impulse? Let's call it
I don't
8.
know.
8 is good. Welcome to the first episode of the second season of the CasterSquared podcast. I'm deciding it now. I don't care.
Well, I mean, if this podcast is like, if it goes on for a really long time, then that we're gonna have a lot of seasons.
We can't.
Yeah, no, Jake, I'd say go for like 16 and then have like 2 weeks off and then say we're in the next season.
Oh, that's big brain.
I'm not taking
I
any
agree
weeks
with that.
off. What up, Robin? How we doing?
Welcome.
Welcome to the CasterSquared podcast, episode 9, the first episode of season 2. It's been decided.
Apparently.
Watch, I'm saying that it's going to be different. Phil's going to hit me up and be like, we can't do that because blah, 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 business terms, other business terms, you don't understand. We can't do that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not going to do anything about it because ultimately you are responsible for everything, huh?
God,
Now,
holy
this
shit.
time, joining me today,
you.
I'm in trouble.
Seriously. You are in so much trouble, man.
I know I'm in trouble.
You know, in fact, I'm gonna fire you for Phil right now.
Okay, yeah,
Fired.
that's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair. You ever get that? You ever get that? It's just like somebody's like, fuck you or something. They say something like, expressing disappointment or something. You're just like, you know what? That's fair. It's one of my
You know
favorite
what?
things.
You are right. I know I am.
It's like when I get slaughtered in PvP and I'm just like, you know what? Honestly, I deserve that.
I've heard that a few times.
I like how
Well,
you
Jake
say
was
that
going
you're
to say, I am Frosty. Hello, everybody. What's up?
Well, I was going to introduce Kayla first, actually. Kayla's been with
Oh.
Impulse longer.
Oh, I just slapped myself in the face for no reason.
Not for no reason. No, you deserve it. Down below, please. Tell us about yourself. Introduce yourself. All that good stuff. I don't know why I stopped
I'm
talking.
Kayla, or I'm the mod Lady Stormwind in the chat on occasion. I haven't been on as much as I used to be. I run a lot of the background stuff here at Impulse, like working on designing the new website, working on some of the design for some of our upcoming projects. So yeah, you'll see me on and off here on the podcast because I can talk formidably or something like that.
Yeah, no, Kayla, I'm super happy to have Kayla on the podcast because it helps to have somebody smart here every so often. So Kayla definitely fills that role in spades. On the opposite end of that very spectrum.
Brain cells.
Oh yeah,
and everyone has
100%.
them.
Yeah, no, neither of us ever have all 3 brain cells we share between us at the same time in one head. Okay.
I'm missing
On
my
the
brain cell
opposite-
today.
Neither of you have any of them, and they've just, decided to float in the air.
Yeah, they're just in the ether.
Escape the hat!
Or sometimes Jaden
Oh, she just
reason, but
lost
he's
her
not
brain
using
cells.
them.
Yeah, yep. Okay, on the opposite end of the intellectual spectrum, we have with us on my
The
side.
one and only Impulse Rodeo Clown X, Snowman, Big Frosty, Bored to Entertain on Twitch and YouTube, and Jaden.
I feel like this is going to be another roast Jaden sesh, and I'm loving it. I'm already loving it.
This might
It
be.
sucks because I always set that up for you guys, okay?
You
You
make
said
it community.
You really do make
I'm
me...
actually, I'm the punching bag of Impulse.
I used to be, and then you came along, and I'm just like, yes.
You're the punching bag in private, and you know it.
Do what?
You're the punching bag in private, and you know it.
Oh,
I'm-
yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. On the punching bag that punches back. Right. So it said introduce co-host. Co-host not here. No Phil. Introduce everyone else. Everyone else is here.
Yeah.
And fun little fact, I'm in talks with my buddy DJ. He has requested that I reach back out to Dogwood Gaming because they reached out. They gave us a couple free games to stream, and Jade and I have been having a lot of fun with Ashes of Kanaka. So big shout out to Dogwood Gaming for that. Big shout out to Dogwood Gaming for scaring the shit out of us with their game Static. I had to change my pants after the stream. I'm not kidding.
Confirmed.
So yeah, I love them. And they, at least one or two of them, wants to make an appearance on the podcast eventually.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
You'll have to actually prep more than 30 minutes in advance, Jake.
Yeah, I know, right? I like some questions and all that, but that gets us a chance to talk to someone who's in the industry and working, on games actively, and they already have a few games out. And they're working on a remake of one of them, a top-down RPG Maker style game into full-fledged project. Not sure if I can talk about that. Can I talk about that? I can talk about that. Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Well, they already announced it on YouTube and everything, but I'm not talking.
Well, then if they've announced it, then that's fine.
Yeah. So with that, we got a few things to talk about, and those of you at home and listening in the future, go ahead and let us know what you think of the particular things that we end up talking about and the stupid rabbit holes that we go down with our dumb.
With our dumb.
Yep. Coffee. Sorry. I had to stop.
Yes.
I can't talk and drink at the same time.
Sponsor.
I wish I could talk and drink at the same time, but I can't. With that being said,
just talk through your nose, bro.
No. What? Listen, just because my beak takes up 50% of my face's skin doesn't mean I can talk out of it.
Says who?
Says me. With my mouth, not my nose.
All right, Jake, so what are the topics for today? Because they are a mystery.
Right. Okay. So starting point, we're going to talk about what all we want in our game. What is our perfect game? All the do's and don'ts of gaming, and of course our personal preferences. We're also going to take a very brief visit to our favorite zombie games over the years, because there's nothing that's not fun about slaughtering hundreds and hundreds of zombies. Like, everyone enjoys it. There's not a single person that doesn't. And if you don't, then you're wrong.
I'm gonna let you know ahead of time. You're forcing my hand on that topic. All right, I'll leave it at that.
Okay. We are also going to. We briefly visited on a previous podcast. We briefly visited. Media adaptations of different franchises, like games to movies, movies to games, games to books, etc. But this time, we're going to be talking about what we would like to see made into a movie or book or game from the different franchises that we're all fans of. Where was I? Don't talk anime. We're going to talk some anime. It's inevitable.
That should just be. Yeah, never mind. Keep going.
That's inevitable. We're also going to talk music in games, not sure what about when it comes to music, but let's talk it. And again, in parentheses. Because we briefly discussed our favorite soundtracks, but we can probably go a little more in depth with that now that we have Kayla here, if she doesn't mind. Because she is I've heard things. We're also going to talk about something we haven't talked too much about on the podcast, but I would like to talk more about. We're going to talk about fighting games, things like Tekken, Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, etc. And our favorite characters from those franchises, and maybe franchises people haven't heard of, such as obscure fighting games from the olden days, like Bloody Roar, and our favorite fighting styles in those games.
Egg, how dare you?
We also briefly visited the topic of groundbreaking games, of our childhoods and in this day and age, but we never really discussed why they were so groundbreaking and why they affected us so well as individuals. And that's it. That's all I have written down. But of course, we're going to go down some rabbit holes, and I'm going to let us linger in those rabbit holes for a little bit longer than normal because A, there's only 3 of us, B, we don't have so many topics, but if anybody has any recommendations, absolutely spill it. Oh, taking off my coat. I'm wearing the same shirt as yesterday where it says, "What about tomorrow?" Fuck tomorrow. And a hat that says fuck on it. So I'm clearly being very professional today.
He has a serious mood today.
I have a serious
mood.
We're
gonna have to make you some Impulse merch.
Who the fuck
I was
did
thinking
that?
about that, but I didn't want to.
Who
I
did that
didn't really
shit?
want to say anything until I both talked to Phil about that and myself. Because half the time I come up with a new idea for Impulse, I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm just like, okay, is this a good idea? Da 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 da.
It has to
I
say
mean,
fuck on it.
Impulse merch, especially merch that you wear on stream, Jake, would be a great idea because then we could build a store.
That'd be
Here, hold
awesome.
up. I'll be right back.
And people would be like, "Oh, look, this is Big Jake's stream."
Yeah. They said if I wear that, I'll be cool, just like him.
And of course, one thing
I
we
could
could
be
do,
just
Jake,
as good looking.
one thing we could do, Jake, is like have certain pieces go to some of those charities.
Fuck yeah, no, and we just started a.
Oh my god.
This podcast is nothing but fuck. Phil missed the wrong podcast. This would have been his favorite.
This would have been perfect for an Aussie.
Yeah, right.
We'll do it again. Then I'll get my fuck shirt on.
Ah, you
I
actually
don't have,
yes. You
I
told
don't
me
have
about
anything like that.
You should. You should. They're very. It's almost like therapy. I get a. There was an old lady. I'd worn the shirt out once, and there was. I say old lady, but like probably not much older than me, like mid-30s. It's like my child can read that, and I'm just like, I don't give a fuck.
Hey, read the hat. Read the hat, lady.
God forbid you sit down for 5 seconds with your kid and say, don't say that word. It's like
when I was
people
14.
talk to their kids now.
When I was 14, my family
know,
went to Vegas for a bit, and my brother and I saw a shirt being sold at a street vendor that just said "fuck you, you fucking fuck," and we thought it was the greatest shirt ever.
Dude, someone just played a bits thing that says "watch your profanity."
Watch your profanity.
Yeah.
In the words of Captain America, language.
Who's doing this?
Language.
Language.
I see. I wanted to. Let's go ahead and add that. Comic book stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, hang on a second.
Uh-oh. She's getting something. She's getting something, and we are not prepared. Jaden. We must pepper our Anguses.
What the fuck did you just say?
Run, bitch!
We have to pepper our Angus.
Come on, goddamn! How am I supposed to be serious when you guys keep playing sound alerts in my fucking ear? Right when I started fucking getting all fuming, all I hear is "Run, bitch, run!
Run, bitch, run!"
Yeah, you get it, you get it. What
I
the
get
fuck? Who is doing this? It has to be D-Dubs. It has to be. There's no way it isn't.
The boy D-Dubs. What up, D-Dubs? How we doing, my man? What's going on?
It has to be.
Anything nerdy or anything. I was just getting the charger for my laptop.
Oh, I thought you were about to bring out like
Almost
a
dead.
mountain of comic books.
Oh god, no. My parents didn't really do comic books, so like we got comic books at the airport, so we had like 3.
Yep. Is the impulse bot working for? There we go. There we go.
Whoever's watching this on
and then
YouTube, I'm
Mark is
sorry.
right.
I'm sorry
Jaden muted
for
himself.
all of
I don't
the
know why he
sounds.
does that.
I do it so I
Talking
can speak to
history.
chat, okay?
Well, let us speak to your chat too.
Oh, I mean, I'm just yelling at the person who made turtle sex sounds in my ear for like 10 seconds, okay? And it's just over and over
What?
for 10 minutes. Not 10
Let's
minutes.
start on the first topic.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What all we want from our games? What is the perfect game for us? What would be perfect for each of the 3 people here? My answer is very simple. We already know about me. So let's start with probably an interesting one. Gayla, go ahead and let us know.
Okay, I'm
What
glad you
is
think
your
mine's
perfect
interesting.
game?
Well,
Well, I
I'm
mean-
I'm an RPG player,
Mhm.
so
That's why I thought it'd be interesting.
I'd love an RPG that's got new lore that's really fleshed out, because I'm also a lore hound. I love digging into it. Like, you give me a game, I will go find its wiki and I will like read as many pages as I can before
It's like if it's in Skyrim and you find books everywhere, do you read all the?
I find that really ironic.
Sometimes depends on how
find
long
that
they are in
this sounded very
Skyrim, just
ironic.
because there's only so much that you can really absorb while you're playing Skyrim.
Yep.
But
Yep.
like, I mean, and so like other games do it a little bit better. I mean, like KOTOR has really short excerpts, which is great. The BioShock games, instead of doing any sort of written material, they do voice recorded
Like audio
things.
logs and all that. Yeah.
Audio logs, yeah, from different characters for different events.
Nice. I love it when
So,
games
yeah.
do dicks.
Yeah,
Because
so you can get
shooting
like
and get lore.
right, and you get, and it's all from perspectives of different characters, some that you encounter and some that you don't. You only just kind of hear about them.
Yep.
So like, and probably one of my favorites with that is BioShock
the chat
2,
box
leading
later
up to
more.
the release of
Whatever.
BioShock
It
2.
looks decent. It is what it is.
2K released this whole like promotional thing called "There's Something Under the Sea," and it
What
basically
Egg
you
said,
follow this
other
guy
than the
whose child has
giving
been
him everything
kidnapped
that I
and
own.
has been brought to Rapture, the scene of BioShock 2. And week after week, like the setting he's in gets progressively more and more messy or paranoid, depending on just how far down the rabbit hole he goes. And then it switches to, oh, he's on a boat now heading towards Rapture. So you actually find audio logs of him in Rapture going through. It's almost like you're like a day or two behind him in the journey. And so he talks about all the different things he encountered
That's a good twist.
in this dystopian city that nobody knew that most people on the surface did not know existed.
Mm-hmm.
And how he goes from just being this family man to having to kill his way through this city of insane people essentially to try and save his daughter.
So it's like Liam Neeson in Taken minus the background of being a person
Right.
trained to find.
Except at the very end, he decides to basically become, the big daddies, the guys in the big diver suits that you see in all the BioShock promotional materials. He decides to become the big daddy that's specifically assigned to his daughter because there's no other way he can be with her that he can see.
Damn.
And then you actually can encounter him and his daughter. And you can choose to leave him alone with his daughter, or you can kill him and, save his daughter.
Damn.
So I love, having the lore like that, where, you had these great stories, and it's not just, oh, here's your overarching storyline, have fun, but you get all of these nice bits of nuance. I mean, even in things like Jedi Fallen Order, where you get to see things that, like you said, there you go, oh, look at that's from Star Wars Rebels, or from Clone Wars, So it's more than just the movies. It's bits of lore that you're just like, oh, that's so great that they did that.
Yeah.
So that would be like my ideal game would be one that I can just get lost in the story, because for me, games and movies have always been about the suspension of disbelief. As much as a movie might suck, I can, for the most part, with the exception of Twilight, suspend my disbelief for the time being. And what's really great is if then afterwards, you're left wanting to know even more. And it's available to your mind.
Oh yeah, that or you're left wanting to like stay in that world for the happy ever after and all that.
The immersion factor has always been big for me in video games. And I mean, it's easy for me with Star Wars because I have so much Star Wars stuff in my head to continue to stay immersed in Star Wars. So having something like BioShock that further immerses you into it is fantastic. Or, Mass Effect, where they actually do have, all sorts of codex entries. And I've read some of them. Again, it's partially about time. But like all the different codex entries on things like species and politics and, just about everything. And it's really, really interesting.
Sorry, I had to lean off to the side because I had to fart.
Nice. Was it stinky?
So an RPG that's like rich in lore, and you can find out all bits and pieces, whether or not it relates to the main story and all that.
Right. I mean, and I'm someone who always plays on like story mode in terms of difficulty so that I can do the story.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, I don't mind. I don't really care if it's Soul style or if it's FPS or whatever. But having that story is really what kind of pulls me to the games.
Nice. And this perfect game of yours, is it a complete story told from start to finish in one go, or do you want like expansions or whatnot?
Well, I mean,
or sequels.
I'm fine with either, but then the expansions do actually have to come. Like in the case of Mass Effect Andromeda, the main game leaves 6 storylines open because those were the storylines that BioWare planned to turn into expansions, and then Andromeda did so poorly, they canceled the expansions.
Ooh.
So there are 6 storylines that are just
Andromeda
left
keeps
open.
getting worse. Oh my! The more I hear about it, it just keeps getting like.
I loved Andromeda, because it takes you out of like the constant threat of war of the original Mass Effect trilogy. I loved it as a concept. I know that there were some issues in terms of like there were lots of bugs because it got rushed, and sometimes the way
'Cause
that
it
they
got
did some of the faces was really funky. Like if you look at the gal who was the voice actress for Sarah Ryder, she looks nothing like the way Sarah Ryder actually looks, which kind of sucks because it would have been so much better if she looked like the voice actress, because right now she doesn't look like she fits, especially given that her twin brother is like this massive hunk who actually does look like his voice actor. And there's bits and pieces of that, like there's cool concepts to it, like if you customize both of the twins, then you have the option to set to use their appearances to determine what their father looks like during the game, which can be cool if it's done right.
If it's done right and it wasn't for
Because
Andromeda.
I have tried it, and there are times where Alec Ryder comes out looking super sketch, and you sit there and you're like, thank
Sketch is a
God you die early, because I can't keep looking at that face.
Damn.
Well, you say like the big character doesn't look like the voice actress, and then I'm looking at the character, I'm like, that doesn't look like a human.
Yeah, no, she looks terrible.
Wait,
There
what was
was
her
another-
name? Hold on, I need to pull this up now.
Sarah Ryder.
The character
Sarah-
looks like one of them like rudimentary robots where they try to emulate human expression and it just does not work out right. You're doing it right. You're
I
doing
spelled
it
this way wrong. Holy shit.
SARARYDER.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not good. And I know that they had another there's another character that there had been some things about her face that were a big problem, Addison, and then BioWare actually released a patch to fix her face. But
You have to release a
they
patch.
had it was actually, I enjoy the storyline, and I know that I'm gonna get hate from some people. Like if I were talking to Hero right now, I'd be getting so much hate because he hates Andromeda.
Oh my god,
But-
I didn't
So do
realize.
I,
I heard them do it, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
The
And then
storyline was
okay,
really
like-
solid. It really was. The concept was kind of awesome, but the execution.
Oh, caught me off
Okay,
guard.
yeah.
I mean, come on, the concept is really cool. Go
No, I
settle
can- I
an
can-
entirely new galaxy. Somewhere that you
This character doesn't look
cannot
too
return
terrible.
from.
I don't
So
know if I'm
go
looking
watch
at the
it in
right
motion.
thing, but
Go watch the character in motion.
oh,
It's
in
bad.
motion. Okay,
Yeah.
hold up,
It's
I'll
bad.
do that now.
It's
'Cause,
not
like
good.
the images don't look terrible. Like she doesn't look like that bad, but I mean maybe if
My
but-
balls.
Because like
It's
I can
bad.
find my disbelief, and then that shows up on my screen, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna go play something else.
Oh, she looks like a robot in this fucking. Okay.
Yeah, it's bad.
No, I can
like-
get behind like concepts and like understanding poor executions, whatnot. Like
Yeah,
that's why I
no,
fell in love
I-
with Star
You'll be
Wars.
the first.
Star
I
Wars.
enjoy the
Horrible
right.
executions, but great concept.
I
Oh, is it
understand
I mean,
now.
like I enjoy the concepts that you have when it comes to Mass Effect Andromeda. The idea of literally you've decided to go settle an entirely new galaxy, a place that when you wake up, everybody that you knew,
Do you-
in your old life is now dead.
This is
because
what
it's
I
been
seen
600
first.
years.
And I was like, this ain't that
You
bad.
cannot
but, like,
return.
holy fuck.
I love the concept that you have to basically make it or break it out here.
Well, also
And
that,
you-
and you eliminate the chance of like characters
turtle
from
sex
previous
sounds.
games making a sudden comeback, and it's all epic. and
Actually,
whatever.
what they did instead was
Oh, they did.
so no, they didn't. What they
Oh.
did instead was they had it that they give you a subtle nod to them. So like Alec Ryder at one point actually reaches out to Liara, who's like one of the main secondary characters in the Mass Effect series, being like, "Hey, would you be interested in this project?" She's like, "Well, I'm not because I'm working with Shepard, but here's some video logs and audio logs for you to listen to."
Okay, yeah.
You got Liara that way.
that's
And then
probably-
there's some little Easter eggs, like some of Ryder's logs are like discussing like, oh yeah, Shepard just told the council about the Reapers, and you're just like, okay, so that's the end, that's like mid Mass Effect 1 all the way up to the distress calls that basically start off Mass Effect 3,
Mhm.
which is right before they make the jump to head towards Andromeda.
Yeah, no.
So
it's-
you're left not
good to have
actually
one.
knowing what the ending is to Mass Effect 3, which is the point because I don't believe we've actually stated what a canon ending to Mass Effect 3 is yet. Mass Effect 4 will change that when that comes out, but
That was
you know,
adorable.
having those nice nods to the
Forgot
original
to
Mass
add that
Effect
one.
without
No
it
one ever plays that
overshadowing,
one.
because it's
That was
really
awesome.
hard by the time you
I know I
have
don't like the
you
Ron
know
thing,
to
but
do any other stories in the Mass Effect world, because everything is so overshadowed with Shepard. Because I mean, and there's not much other history that you can do, because quite literally, first contact for humans was maybe 30
Maelstrom, bro. I
years
can't.
before Mass
Wait, it
Effect.
was.
Yep.
Like quite literally,
You're crazy, bro.
the
How
Ryder
you
twins
doing,
in
bro? I'm
Andromeda,
doing
their
pretty
father
good.
fought in the
How are
first
you doing,
contact
bro?
war.
You should know how I'm doing, bro. All the vibes
So-
are on here. You already know.
What I would like to see from character creation
Doing
is
pretty
you
good.
decide the look of the mother and the father,
Glad to see you,
and
man.
then come out with the kid like inheriting different traits from those two. That would be
Also, if
Right.
you have any questions
be
or
really
want to
cool.
listen to any
Unique
specific
take.
music, let me know.
'cause I don't see it
We
very
are
often.
answering questions on here.
That's
So,
Sims.
if you got any topic ideas, let us know.
Well, I don't play this.
But
That's the exact
yeah,
opposite
no,
of the kind of game I want.
you know, it has this great concept, but the execution, like if BioWare had had a few more weeks to work it, it would have been so much better. But EA likes to fuck with BioWare's release dates all the time.
Well, and then
Not
we
to
see, and
say
then we see
that
the
it's totally on EA, but
no, because then we see what BioWare comes out with when there is a pushback, and then we get 7.0 Star Wars: The Old Republic, and it's not.
oh, but
It's like, what
but
the,
at the same time, Jake, like
it's like you knew that
not
was.
always. But put it this way, Jake. Not every time that EA pushes back, it's not that BioWare releases crap stuff. Because I mean, EA cut some of their time on KOTOR 2, but it still was a great game. We just didn't get one storyline.
Well, yeah, which is you can like cut different story, like cut content, like what they did with one of the Zelda games for the N64. I can't remember which one.
Yeah,
which is fine, but then you come up with something and the game's totally broken.
right. And I think
completely different. What I'm talking about is like the game breaking things.
oh yeah, I mean, it's Andromeda's not as bad as CDPR in that respect, though.
No, not at all.
Cool.
But
Andromeda. Well, with CDPR coming with 2077, I might be biased because it's a totally different style of game. It's a lot less about the story, more about the gameplay and what you can do with your character.
right.
I feel like it's a little different. Not only because of that, but also because like with CD Projekt Red and the release of 2077, was their biggest mistake was promising too much. They were really ambitious. With Andromeda, you were already on an already established franchise.
Well, but that's also a problem in and of itself, because we know so much about Mass Effect already, and what we knew that it wasn't possible for certain characters to show up in this game. There was a huge level of expectation for Andromeda based on the games that preceded it.
Oh yeah,
and it didn't meet that. Whereas CDPR outright came out and said, at the end, we really weren't even worried about testing it and fixing bugs. We were just worried about releasing.
Yep. Yeah, no, CD Projekt Red completely fucked it. They both fucked it.
Yeah. I mean, Andromeda, it's sad because it's like some gameplays with Andromeda can be perfectly flawless. Like, I've had them. And then there's some where there's literally nothing you can do, and some of your quest lines just get locked out because something didn't spawn.
Yep. Yeah, no, with 2077, I didn't really
issues.
feel the same thing that I might have felt with Andromeda. It ran well enough to where I could stay immersed.
Depends on what you played it
on. PC.
Yeah, see, my computer cannot handle Cyberpunk 2077. So I was playing it on PS4, and there's a nasty bug for PS4 where at random points, it could be 5 hours in, it could be 30 minutes in, it shuts down.
That's stupid.
And it's consistent.
Well, I mean, there's no way that's not breaking someone's immersion.
Wasn't there another thing where like there was a lot of like NPCs where like they cut a lot of NPCs out of it with like PS4 and Xbox One as well?
I don't know, but I know that there's lots of issues in terms of things like sometimes clothes won't spawn. There's lots of audio issues that can happen, like where sometimes your audio gets doubled or it gets delayed, which is a huge annoyance to me.
Yep.
And some
Then
of
it
these
comes out
questions-
like a dubbed Chinese movie or something with the words don't match the mouth.
Mhm. Yeah, it's bad, and you just sit there, you're like,
It's like, how are you doing this?
I did actually have one instance where I phased through the walls of Night City and got stuck. Like on one of the lower levels of Night City, I got just stuck outside.
I've had a few quest
Couldn't
bugs.
get back.
I've never had anything like that. I've had a few quest bugs, but that's maybe I might just be exceptionally lucky. It might be that might be it.
The look
But
is
also
on your
like
side.
playing PC. That
I
works
mean,
as well.
2077 also is just like so focused on what you do. And I love that. I really do. I mean, KOTOR 2, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, these are all games that not only have, rich lore, but they depend heavily on what you do. Even BioShock to an extent. BioShock has like three different the first BioShock has 3 different endings depending on what you do.
Yep.
And then the second BioShock has like 6 depending on what you do.
Oh yeah,
and
I love open-ended games like that. I don't
it's
like
2 different pieces of endings, Jaden. So it's like there's a first cutscene that can be determined by a very specific criteria, and then there's a second cutscene that's determined by other criteria. So
Yep.
you could have up to like 6, 7, actually more than that, because there's like 2, 3 first cutscene endings, and then 2, 3, actually even maybe 4 second cutscene endings, if I remember correctly. It's been a bit. So you can, it's not unlike things like Until Dawn, where you can have like the really terrible ending and then the really awesome ending.
Oh yeah.
Jake, I'm gonna call it now. If we ever play Mass Effect, we're getting the absolute bottom of the barrel endings, if that is possible.
If you play what?
Mass Effect.
It's not hard.
It's not hard to get the bad endings.
It's really not, especially when
okay, we're getting
you're
them for sure.
well,
then.
especially okay, we'll put it this way, Jaden. Especially when you're playing all 3 games and you're running through them all and you're porting your saves into the next game. Which means, remember, with Mass Effect, it's the same with Dragon Age. Decisions you make in the first game can affect the outcome of the third.
I cannot wait to see the entire galaxy exploding after me and Jake get through that.
My God, I mean,
That's
like,
not gonna happen. We're savers of the galaxy.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, are you?
Everyone's
Yeah,
safe.
it's like, are you playing Paragon or Renegade? You can actually have the good ending regardless of whether or not you go Paragon or Renegade. But depending on what
No
you
sound
do,
for what?
certain characters
What?
may not be alive to see it.
What do you mean there's no
and
sound?
that can really, that can really come to bite you in the ass in some areas.
I heard
But
that.
on the
Keep
flip
everyone
side,
alive!
there's like on the flip side, there's like beloved characters that die along the way. That the only way to save them is to do something really rotten.
Yep.
And you're just like,
No, the no
I
sound
can't
came up.
justify that because that's just gonna,
Well, that's
it's
life.
gonna end up
Wait, wait.
worse.
That's life. That means it was a really well executed
up.
game. Or at least
Oh, no, it was
either
fantastic.
voice acting or
I
music
mean-
or
They
a
took the
combination of all of the
entire
above.
cell.
So an RPG
Yeah, it should be
with lots
working.
of lore,
The sound on this works.
leaves you heavily immersed.
I think it was
Yeah,
just
of course,
and
no bugs.
having those decisions that
talking
can change your
over
game
or some
outcome
shit.
is always
It should have worked. I heard
really
it.
great.
And you're open to expansions or sequels.
For sure. I mean,
Oh yeah.
if they're appropriate, Jedi Fallen Order is a contained story.
They
I
might
don't
have
think
been. It
having
was
a
probably
DLC to
us just
Jedi Fallen
talking
Order is
over it.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Having sequels different, but
For me, it
DLC
was like
doesn't
bass
quite fit
boosted.
with
I
that
heard
one.
it. I
Yeah.
heard that shit loud as loud and clear.
My hat looks weird in these headphones. Sorry. Yeah. I don't get
Your hat looks beautiful.
Oh well, let's get rid of it.
No! Put the hat back on.
You're not my boss.
You know you're right about that. But fuck.
Jaden,
Okay. So
your perfect game.
my perfect game actually kind of I had time like a lot of time to actually think about this, because when I was when I was doing my game design stuff way back when.
All right,
actually about a year
yeah,
ago.
whatever. You took enough time. Okay,
Shut
so
the
my
fuck up.
perfect game.
What the fuck? Get out of here, Jake. No, you ain't getting a turn now. Okay, so when I was doing game design about a year ago, the game I had really high ambitions and I wanted to make crazy stuff. And actually, the one that I showed you guys, the like adventure looking one or whatever, was part of it. But so there's that, and then there was this. Okay, so actually, let's start with that. That game I based a lot around. I wanted to have like some like kind of somewhat medieval, but also like have like my own creative freedom around it, so I could put really whatever in there. It wasn't based on any specific timeline, whatever. It was just like it could be anything it really wanted to be, depending on where you were at. Like if you were in some different like world or area, it'd have like a different theme, giving it like a character, I guess. I don't know, but it was based around like Adventure Time. Can you fuck off, Jay? This is the one time I'm actually talking and you're sleeping. But I wanted to base that off of like the adventures that they had in Adventure Time, not making it like I wanted it to be more of like I wouldn't say like an M rating,
Mission failed.
like a T rating version of Adventure Time or some shit, like where bad things could happen, blah blah blah, whatever. But I wanted to have it be like a thing where you could be with your best buds and you're playing like adventures and shit, and you go explore like an adventure game. You explore crazy new things that you've never seen before. But I also want to combine that with another game idea that I had that I tried to execute at some point, and it was kind of like I based it around the game Rust. And for the people who don't know what Rust is, it's pretty much like realistic Minecraft, but heavily based on PvP and base building and all that shit, whatever. But I wanted to make it. My idea to branch out from that was to make it in a giant fucking hole. Like, for anyone who's ever seen the anime Made in Abyss, kind of like that, where there's a giant hole and each layer has like a different theme or whatever and different things in it. And it was going to be heavily PvE. And there would be PvP, but it would be like the monsters would be like the main focus. Kind of like a Dark Souls-ish kind of thing. Not as hard, but like somewhat like Dark Souls with like crazy, awesome fucking badass monsters that are trying to murder you, that have different like attack patterns, and like they have, each of them are unique in their own different ways and shit. But each level would have their specific monsters, specific items, and the farther you would go down towards the bottom of this endless pit, you would get better and better shit, and you'd be able to make better and better stuff. But at the same time, I want to combine that with the Adventure Time kind of feel. You go and you can go on these quests and like do awesome shit. I don't know. I want an awesome game, and maybe
almost
VR.
like an Adventure Time prequel, almost. You know, like you could look at like Bubblegum and Marceline as they're going through Ooh long before Jake and Finn show up.
They actually explored I mean,
I know they explored some of that in Obsidian, but
yeah, that's all. Yeah, dude, Obsidian was such a good fucking episode.
All I know about Adventure Time is there's a dog named Jake, and that's it.
And the dog named Jake is voiced by the guy who plays Bender, so he's awesome.
You know how many times I've heard that? I swear to fuck. If I have to do that one more time.
Hey, yo, Jake, guess what? The guy who plays Bender plays Jake.
You know, it's official that John DiMaggio is coming back to Futurama.
Wait, he wasn't in it before, or wait, what's happening?
Originally, so when Hulu announced the revival of Futurama, he originally was not listed as part of the cast because negotiations had broke down, and he was holding out for more money, not only for himself but for the cast, because these guys created a huge pop culture sensation, and the pay that they were being offered, I guess, wasn't really equitable to that. But I think it was about 2 weeks ago, maybe a week and a half. It was officially announced that DiMaggio will now return as Bender.
Yep. I read that news and I was just like, yeah!
Well, nobody could replace that. I mean, nobody could replace DiMaggio as Bender. There's no suitable replacement.
Hello?
No.
Me? Come on.
Jake. Let's hear your best Bender. Come on, let's hear your best Bender.
It'd be a completely new voice, a completely different.
It'd be different. It'd be Bender 2.0.
Not, but maybe like 0.5.
Bender 0.
Yeah, like Flexo,
0.25.
except he wouldn't sound like Bender.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
No, not at all. No.
You
But
can do
I could play
Zoidberg. Zoidberg remake.
I could do a Zoidberg. I could do a 6 Zoidberg.
That was
You
fucking,
know who
oh my god.
Zoidberg, right?
Who?
Same guy who voices Fry and the Professor.
Wait,
Fuck yes!
I knew that Fry and the
Yes!
Professor was the same guy, but I did. Damn, what the fuck? He's got like
Are you
crazy good
kidding?
voice skills.
Half the cast does multiple things. Like Preacher Bot is the same guy who voices Hermes.
That's talent. That's talent.
You know, like the gal that voices Mom also does like, you know, the female reporter and a bunch of other side roles in there, which that's Tress McNeil. Billy West does like half of the main stuff. He's also Zap Brannigan.
I love Zap Brannigan. My favorite character of all
Yeah,
time.
Maurice
I love
LaMarche
her.
also
how
does
is he-
like half the shit.
How can you not
Yeah.
like Zap Brannigan? He is so fucking awesome.
He's just
mean-
he's a spot on, you know, satire of Captain Kirk.
Yep. Yep.
Down
makes
to
sense.
down to the Leela song that he sang on that dinner ship that dinner ship.
I saw that clip just yesterday, actually. I was going through a bunch of
Yeah,
Zap
because
Brannigan clips.
that is actually parodying the time that Shatner sang Lola.
Mm-hmm. And it is the best thing I've ever seen. I saw that and I was like, how did I miss this? Oh, it was awesome. Right. So, Jaden, you just won a really awesome game.
An awesome game that is. This is my idea. No game developers can steal that idea. I want to make. This is a game that I guess I want to make eventually in the future.
Sure.
A really awesome adventure time feeling kind of game, like a more higher rated version of Adventure Time. X Rust, X Made in Abyss, PvE type crazy shit.
Well,
But
Jaden,
it's-
you know, there's a link to a game design document template on my GDD. So why don't
Yes.
go use that and go write it up.
Yes. Yes.
Go do it.
I need
Working
to.
with mechanics.
I actually.
Right now. No,
I actually am starting to, now that I'm able to like I've been getting ahead of like doing all my videos and the content and all that shit. I'm actually gonna be able to do some game design stuff. So yeah.
Well, yeah,
Not-
I mean,
it's
you know,
I'm gonna have to ease
hopefully
into it
this
a little
week
bit,
I'll
but-
have mine done so we can
Right
get started
now,
on
what a
that. So we can get started on, you know, that project that, you know, I'm not going to say too much about, seeing as we haven't really started doing anything with it.
Maybe I could do some voices for it.
We could all,
Yes.
I mean, you know, we could all do voices for it
Dr.
if it's, you know, deemed necessary.
If
you
there's
know,
a strip club bouncer, I got you.
Jaden, now.
Have you? It doesn't take place
Can I help
anywhere
you
for
too?
that. So just
No, we. I don't. Kate, I'm not sure if you saw the clip. But Jaden and I were playing Tanaka. We came across this club bouncer. You know, strong bookie.
it's
You know,
so good.
like the just stereotypical bouncer. You know. And
okay.
we come across. I opened my mouth to do the voice, and then Jaden. Do it.
I do it again? Okay. Can I help you too?
It gets me every time. It's like the way the character portrait is, right? The voice matched perfect.
Hey, I can do a pretty deep voice every once in a while, all right? If I really try, I can do it. Specifically that line. I was so glad that we had to restart just to fucking do that part again. That that was great.
I laughed just as much as the first time. It was great. I didn't expect it. It was like there's Jaden, and then all of a sudden, can I help you too? And I'm just like, what?
There's Jaden, and then there's strip club bouncer.
Mr. Kublas for Jaden. This is cool, Jaden, but it's super muscly.
Yeah. Well, if I ever get like super swole, I gotta put the glasses on and only talk like that.
I'll have to send you some of my old sound design projects, Jaden, so you can hear some of the voices I do.
Okay, I need to hear that. I need to hear
That's
that.
right. Yeah, you can do a whole bunch of like accents to what. I didn't know that you had like I thought you just did that just because you could.
Well, so back in college, I did a couple sound design courses because unfortunately CU didn't have, you know, a sound engineering major at the time. It actually like they just started developing it my senior year, and I was like, God damn it, if it'd been like even a year earlier, I could have done this. But so like one thing that we did was we had to create, like a radio play.
Mhm.
So I took a chapter of Murder on the Orient Express and created a little 15-minute piece of it, bit from it where like, I got a bunch of my friends to do voices and I voiced the narrator and like
Yeah.
one really minor character because we didn't have anyone for it. I got my buddy Chris, the one who's now, the big hoity-toity voice actor. He
Yeah.
played the main character. And then I got a bunch of friends who came over and, recorded in my apartment. And I actually, at some point, like one of the gals that I recorded with, who's a theater major, she and I wanted to start it as like a regular thing where we would take, great works of literature that were in the public domain and turn them into radio dramas. We actually came really
Dude,
close.
I
Like we
would, I
had,
would really love to be a part of something like that. That sounds really fun. That sounds
yeah,
really
no, I
fun.
mean,
Me too.
so like we
That
were,
sounds-
we
yes.
were initially going to have our maiden, series be the very first Hercule Poirot story, who's Agatha Christie's main detective, The Mysterious Case at Styles. But we realized partway into receiving, we got like a ton of audition tapes, which was super awesome. Like Backstage Magazine even like had us on their website, like, "Hey, this is something to audition for."
Don't you love
We
it?
were
Don't you love it when
psyched.
that happens? Don't you love it when that happens when you
It
show
just
up on
happened
someone else's
accidentally.
like media?
We were kind of freaked that someone had like stolen our idea or something. But we reached out and they're like, "No, we saw your thing on Facebook, so we made it for you." We're like, but unfortunately,
That's really
we
cool.
realized that while The Mysterious Affair of Styles is in the public domain in the States, it's still owned by the estate of Agatha Christie in the UK.
Oh,
So we reached out to them like what was it, August 2020 or so,
Mhm.
maybe a little earlier, and never heard back.
Oh.
So we're
Is that
thinking
not the worst?
instead, we haven't really been able to do much with it since because like she lost her job and then I lost my job and we're still trying to like put our lives back together. But
Yep.
we're thinking what we might do instead is Sherlock Holmes because all of that's public domain.
Well, if you need another voice for it, shit, I'm
Oh yeah, I mean we'd have to go through the whole casting process again, so for
of
sure.
course.
Yeah, I mean
Not
like
that I'm the best voice,
you
but if you
know,
can't find anyone else, I'm right here.
and for like shits and giggles, I was working on redesigning our homepage and stuff to make it, look a little bit more fun. So, we'll bring it back and I'll have to write a new script. Oh, I was like 30, 40 pages into that script. We were
Oh
so-
no,
I still have
no!
it, but obviously, we never got permission, so we didn't want to get, sued in British court.
Wouldn't that suck though?
That would suck.
Get sued
Even
by a
if we
bunch of
weren't
Brits.
making money, we were.
It's
we
like
were on thin ice.
1776 part 2. Let's go.
So, yeah, no, I believe most of Sherlock Holmes is in public domain in terms
Yeah.
of like what we can and can't do with it. So
That would definitely.
I'd have to go look it up again, but
That's something I would definitely like try to
I
check
mean,
twice.
who knows?
That's
Maybe that's another
really
thing that could fall under the Impulse banner is, Impulse Squared presents Firefly Theater or some shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So like your RPG with rich lore and all that. What sort of era are you thinking? Is it cyberpunky? Is it in the future? Is it like Star Wars or is it?
I don't.
medieval?
Well,
You don't
okay.
care?
It doesn't really need to be Star Wars because Star Wars does its own shit, and anytime it's Star Wars, I automatically, like low key love it, unless the game is absolutely terrible.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
the later expansions of SWTOR.
Yep.
Or Shadow of Revan. But
Or anything to do with Revan. I think Revan is a shit character.
Revan really
No, I
is
said
a
it.
shit character.
I said it. I think he's a shit. I think he is way overhyped.
Well, you realize why he's overhyped, right?
I don't care. That's what I think.
He's the only other character than Anakin Skywalker who manages to walk both sides of the line in terms of dark and light
Which
side.
is great. It's awesome. Which is fantastic. Great storytelling, all that good stuff. Great. I don't like him.
Well, okay.
I don't even like Luke
fine.
Skywalker. I don't like Luke Skywalker either. I don't
Okay.
care that they walked both sides.
I mean, okay, Luke just kind of whines a lot, and I kind of, I love Mark Hamill, and I wish we could have seen a different Luke in the sequels, but we're not going to talk about that right now. But Star Wars, Sure, but it doesn't have to be Star Wars. You know, it could be any. So long as the premise is interesting, I don't really care for what era it is. I mean,
Yeah.
because like you know, takes place in the '60s, except for Bioshock Infinite, which takes place in the in like the 1910s. You know, Skyrim doesn't have a determined, era.
It's somewhere way back when.
Right, but I mean, Mass Effect is the mid 2100s, so it doesn't really matter.
Do you think if we really put our minds to it, collectively as a species, could we get to that level in the 2100s?
Well, here's the thing: in Mass Effect, human race got a huge bolster because, like, when they discovered Mars, they discovered artifacts that actually helped them achieve.
So they were able to reverse engineer some.
They discovered they discovered the mass relay and the first Prothean ruins that the human race had discovered, which gave them a huge boost in their technology. Plus, but when once the first contact war ended and they had a treaty with the Turians, like the Normandy, which is the main ship for Mass Effect, is the product of human Turian cooperative engineering.
I love hearing about that stuff in sci-fi so much. Excuse me, by the way. I love hearing about like when two different like cultures come together and like they pitch their technology to make.
Yeah, no, it was a joint effort by the Human Alliance military and the Turian hierarchy military.
Yep, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah,
it makes me want to play Mass Effect 3 some more. Right, so you don't care what eras, and you don't give a shit. Jaden, your favorite, your dream game. Is it sci-fi? Is it dystopian future? Is it medieval?
I mean, for me, I don't really care about like a specific. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what. I mean, I guess future, but or like alien planet maybe. But I like having an open-ended kind of thing, so you could put as much creative freedom into it as possible, but also keeping like not just combining everything into one specific area, but like having certain themes for like certain areas, things that actually make sense, but have the open like creativeness to it, It's like make whatever you want as long as it fits and makes sense with where it is and takes place, I guess. But
yeah, Bioshock, the original Bioshock, and I guess by extension the second one, they fall under that rule. There are certain areas that are themed, depending on who your boss for that area is, and also it fits with the overarching story. So like, you could wander into Steinberg's medical clinic where, the use of things like Adam have greatly increased the ability to do really outlandish plastic surgery.
Oh yeah.
Which is eventually what drove Simon mad, because he's sitting there like, it can't be too. I mean, the Atom started driving him so nuts that he hated perfection as we know it. The perfectly symmetrical features and etc. He kind of just wanted to become like Picasso with actual faces, or the Fleet Hall in Rapture, where you have Sander Cohen and he's the artist who literally went batshit long before Rapture fell. And he's so obsessed with his quad tick, which is literally just you taking pictures of the corpses of his 4 current proteges.
Damn.
Wow.
That's badass. That's real badass.
And he has you kill 3 of them.
Yeah.
One of them he blows up himself. But
nice.
And then he's just like fucking he's nuts. But
Sounds
he's
like a great guy.
But neither faction fucks with him. Like neither one wants to fuck with him because he is so messed up. But he was messed up long before the city fell.
Yeah.
He might as well be on his good side, right?
Well, of course. That's dark. There we go. I'm light again.
Yeah, we should definitely have you do playthroughs of the Bioshock games, Jake. It's a good game. They're good games to play through.
Why am I always playing through things?
Because you're the one streaming.
Because it's your job.
Have me do something else.
I mean, if I get a computer that can better handle doing both streaming and gaming, then yeah, sure, I'd be happy to play games. But
oh fuck yeah, dude, I'd be happy to edit your content. That'd be great.
How you doing, Tiger?
My wife
How's
is
your day
actually going to do
going,
a
bro?
recording session for
Welcome to the
Health tomorrow,
stream.
and I'm looking
Doing
forward to
podcast tonight.
editing that down a little bit. I've already got like her first 40 minutes, and she's going to do another hour and some odd change for me to edit down before we start pumping those out. So fuck yeah. Right, so let's briefly visit the zombie game genre. Everyone loves going on a slaughter fest against the undead. Hordes and hordes of the undead. Or perhaps the one hulking behemoth that is basically a zombie Voltron of some sort.
Yes, we talk about hella gaming. Pretty much everything gaming. And then other shit
for
as
that
well.
one.
Yep. So I gotta go old school with it. Let me answer my question first this time. I didn't even answer the last question. But
didn't.
dude, Left 4 Dead 2. Left 4 Dead 2 is my favorite zombie game of all time. It's simple. It has so much replayability. No match is exactly the same, or no playthrough is exactly the same as the last. It's non-committal, which I really love. It's fantastic. But I do have a soft spot for it's a very close second with World War Z. That game is awesome because it's like a sort of updated version of that. You get access to more weapons, whatever. The only thing I don't like about that is that there is like some sort of upgradable things that you can do, and you got to keep playing to upgrade those things. So it's not too non-committal. It doesn't really cater too much to new players. You do end up getting carried by people who have been playing for forever. But some of the zombie horde attacks in that game are just fucking phenomenal. You see literally hundreds of them coming through. Like, technology has advanced so much since the days of Left 4 Dead 2. It's been fantastic. And Grimshy in chat is saying Kittyland. Never even heard of that one.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Is that like a zombie game, but all the zombies are kids or something, or what?
It would be like a theme park.
Yeah, theme park. I love the theme park level in Left 4 Dead 2. That one's fun. Kittyland is a reference from Left 4 Dead 2. Oh yeah, that's right, Kittyland. The Ellis. I love Ellis so much. Grab it a bomb. I love NASCAR. If the laws of nature allowed it, I'd have that man's babies.
Oh my god.
I love Ellis. Ellis is the shit. Right. How about y'all? Y'all got zombie games? Y'all dip too much into that genre?
Yeah, remember how I said you forced my hand, Jake?
Yeah.
You forced my hand, bro. Resident Evil has one of the best zombie stories and worst zombie storylines of all time, and I will love every single game that they make, even if they're terrible, because they are always entertaining in my eyes, because, you know, it's awesome to fight awesome, crazy, badass zombie dudes.
Be nice. Be nice.
You know the Resident Evil series is good.
It's the first time
it's better than senselessly killing hordes. It has story, okay?
Relevant. It's relevant to the topic you brought up, and it's the first time we said it this
I am
episode.
being
so
nice.
Don't give him crap.
I mean, I can give him crap. It's my job to give him crap. If I didn't give him crap, we'd be bored. Maybe.
But he's right. It does have a compelling zombie story. So
It does. Ooh, do you guys like undead hordes coming back, or like it's an infection or a virus or something? Any personal flavor preference?
I personally like it when it's more like a contagion.
Ooh, yes.
You know, or even like an outside force, because like if we're gonna go, I mean, I haven't played it, but I love the story behind it and like the lore that's for it. But things like Dead Space.
Yeah.
Because
that shit is
it's not that they're just undead, it's that something is actually acting upon them. You know, it's the influence of the markers and, you know, the Brother Moons that are actually creating these zombies.
Don't spoil too much. I plan to play it soon on stream.
Well, that's about all I'm going to say. But
that's fine. I already knew that, but I mean, like.
But you know, I love having that outside influence. Like I've written like RP storylines for guilds that, you know, circle around, you know, like something akin to the rat ghoul virus, because it was SWTOR oriented, that was controlled by something similar. You know, and I mean, personally, I was. By the way,
rat ghouls are frightening. I hate rat ghouls so much.
But like, you know, I love when it's an outside thing that you can actually like full on track the progression. Like, probably one of my favorite episodes of The Walking Dead, and admittedly, I haven't seen past season 3 because it's very bloody and there's only so much gore I can take, is the CDC episode with TS19, where it actually, you know, shows the full progression of what happens when a person becomes a zombie. Like they do the full brain scan of a person, and it's fantastic. I love that side of it, where it's not just, oh, they turn into a zombie when dead. It's here's how they turn into a zombie.
Yep. There's
You know,
something to
here's the
explain what's going on.
process.
I like that. I like that.
Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, Dead Space is a great example of a zombie game, but I think the one that I'd have to pick because I've actually played it is The Last of Us.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Because it's not, it's a fungus. It's just something that grows, and
Yep.
there is that fungus, although it doesn't work on humans, does actually exist and does actually take over insect beings.
Spooky.
Yeah, you can look it up.
Thank y'all for tuning in. I gotta go. Science.
But yeah, no, it's just like, and you know, the way that they talk about it, and like, what does the progression look like? You know, and it's, you don't actually, it's not so much that you have to die, it's that you've now been infected, so you don't really die, you just no longer are yourself anymore once it takes over.
Savage. Yeah, Last of Us is really good. I didn't even consider that as an option. Holy shit.
No, it's a great
Man, I went old
It's
school with
fun.
it from Steam games or whatever, and then fucking Jaden's like Resident Evil, easy pick, but a decent one. And then Kayla's over here being like fucking putting us both to shame with, oh fuck yeah, Last of Us, and I'm just like, fuck.
I mean, Last of Us is now so classic, you know. I mean, I'm sure there's people clamoring for Naughty Dog to do Last of Us 3 now at this point.
I would certainly hope not. The story is finished. It's done. We're good.
I mean, Last of Us 2 was great. I did really enjoy that. And I think
cool.
there is some potential to see like what happens with like Abby at some point.
I guess.
But you know, just having that idea where it's not just, oh, well, they're dead and they came back. But, you know, knowing that it's, oh, well, you know, if you breathe in the spores. Or if you've been
I would be a really big fan of the they're dead and they came back. Like, say for example, ancient Egyptian pharaoh comes back to life and raises his army of undead zombies or whatever. And it's like, that's my favorite shit. I love that aesthetic.
That one's okay, except part of that just kind of breaks immersion for me because, you know, I used to be a big Egypt mythology fan, you know, and
Well, not
Egypt in
specifically
general
Egypt,
as a
but like
kid.
even like a old Roman emperor or some king from some European like
How's it
castle or
going,
something
Henry?
who raises his
How you doing, bro?
whatever.
Mhm.
Oh, I was
mean-
like,
There was a
treating
movie
you,
that did it too
dude.
with a bunch of it was
Welcome
like
to the podcast. We talking about zombie
you know, there was
shits.
a treasure of gold or whatever, and it was cursed. It was but it's zombies. I don't remember what it was. It was like Nazi zombies. I can't remember the name of the film, but it was a German film. And they released a sequel of it where they actually spoke English because the movie did so well here in America. I can't remember what it was. I
But
do
yeah,
remember the
I
song that
mean-
was featured during the zombie slaying scene. It was Mindog by Alex. Oh, I have forgotten the name.
But
Whatever.
you know, having, I mean, even like, because I don't know, I guess it's been long enough that it doesn't really, I'm not really spoiling it for Walking Dead because it's The Walking Dead.
yeah, I
But
don't.
you know, the idea that it's not that you die and come back. It's not that you just die and come back for no reason. It's that every single being on the planet's been infected with the zombie virus already.
Yep.
So death just turns on the virus, and it takes a couple days for the virus to actually fully kick in and take over your brain. But you know,
That's really
stuff like that where there's an actual like process behind it. I love that. You know, looking at, oh well, you know, what's stage 1 of turning into a
it's not
zombie,
bad.
stage 2, stage 3 of turning into, you know, a zombie or a thrall or whatever you want to call it. I love that process, and I love, you know, I mean, and even The Last of Us does that to an extent because, you know, some of the things like the clickers and the bloaters, those are, you know, those are zombies that survived for so long that they evolved into the clickers because or to bloaters because they've been around so long.
Yep. No, don't get me wrong. I do like that, but I just have a preference for like what, you know, the old school, like, you know, they're just crawling out the graves and fucking biting people and turning them too, and it's like, oh god, it's a takeover. No one saw it coming. or
goes back
somebody
to
eats a
that.
really really bad burger at like a local burger joint,
Right.
and then that's patient zero.
Well, right. It goes back to that love of, the lore for me.
Mhm,
Having that in-depth lore where you can sit there and, read up on, how the cordyceps works in The Last of Us.
Well,
Or like,
you can sort of stretch, for the same thing, and like involve like the Book of the Dead and Necronomicon and all that, and
Mhm.
there could be like an alternative approach, and then approach it from like have some, I don't know, somebody figure it out by applying, going one step
well,
further.
right. Or, I mean, well, Dead Space takes a similar approach to that.
Yeah.
Where they, involve an actual object that, you know, influences things.
Jaden?
A newer zombie game that I really want to try playing is Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 sounds really fun. Being able to like craft your own shit, and then being able to kill zombies in multiple different ways and be creative with it.
I need to upgrade my CPU before I play it, but I definitely plan on playing it.
Yeah, I would have to upgrade like everything in my computer before I tried doing that.
I do enjoy the survival element of, Last of Us, where it's like, you have to create your weapons.
Oh, I like that too. That's awesome.
You have to build your weapons. You have to keep an eye on your ammo, and collect it as you can. Like, especially in areas where you can't be loud.
Oh,
you
yeah.
you have to keep an eye on how many shiv you have, or do you still have a brick in your inventory, or how many arrows do you have if you've gotten the bow and arrow, so that you can make sure that you can get through the encounter without killing yourself.
Yeah, and some of the scenes where you do end up getting spotted and you fuck up and get killed. It's so brutal. I'm just like, oh, that was awesome. Let me see that again.
What would be a zombie game without gore?
Well, yeah, there's that too.
They have
a Chaos Beast.
Little puppy. What? This is now become a pet cast. The pets of Impulse Squared.
I'm glad that my cat is still sleeping and not tearing up my chair.
Yeah, mine too. Mine's sleeping somewhere out in the garage or something. He likes to get on the fridge in the garage. Just sleep on top of it. I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? Your bed is right here.
She's like, pay attention to me.
Yep. Right on. So there's not a whole lot to talk about in relation to zombie games, so I figured that would be a short one. But now, beforehand we had talked about like adaptations into different media for different franchises and all that stuff, like Halo having a show and whatever. But what games, movies, or books would we like to see adapted into something else that hasn't been? This is hard because Resident Evil has all three and Star Wars has all three.
The first thing that I actually thought of, which is just very random, but I feel like an I Am Legend, like a video game for that would be really interesting. Like a game version of I Am Legend, like having like an open world city map with zombie vampire things that look like John Cena. Would be awesome.
You know what would be really cool? Yeah. Seeing as you said we'd be talking about comics, and this is just like I went and saw the Batman this week, so it's on my mind. But we have superhero video games, right? But they're all based on original storylines. So why not take one of the classic comics and turn it into a video game? So like for Batman, you could take something like Year One or The Long Halloween. The Long Halloween would be a great one because it's got, great mystery elements.
Oh yeah. Probably have some of the people fighting for the Nancy Drew games to get on board.
Or even doing things like some of the other world stories, like, Superman Red Sun or Gotham by Gaslight. Those would also be really cool to see in video game format.
Oh yeah. That'd be awesome. You know what I would love to see? I've been a longtime fan of recently, not because of Blizzard's fuck shit, but I've been a big fan of the StarCraft game series. It was one of the first games that I really got into simply because it was like so high paced and non-committal and all that good stuff. Just seeing that almost like Starship Troopers-esque type thing but with the involvement of like a really high tech like alien species that is just as equally bloodthirsty as all the other like the humans and the monstrous aliens Zerg. Just to see those three go in some intergalactic war of some kind would be awesome. Like just the scenes you come up with that, with the special effects involved, and the scale of the battles too would be just my personal eye candy right there. And of course, you could have story elements to it too. Like you could follow around, I don't know, one of the soldiers, or even one of the aliens too. Like they could share a story, kind of like with Halo, where Halo 2, I think, where you follow around both Master Chief and the Arbiter. So you could definitely pull off something like. I think briefly there was a time where they did do that in the actual game, but to be able to see it in a film or even in a trilogy of films would be incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it would be. I would love to see it, but it would be so hard to do Mass Effect as a movie series. It would work better as a TV series, but that would be so much CGI.
Oh yeah,
so
and TV
much.
series CGI is getting better over the years, but I still feel like it's not up to the point as to
It's
what.
getting better, especially now that some studios are starting to use Unreal to do backdrops.
Yep.
I mean, like the vast majority of
Damn.
The Mandalorian was done green screened with Unreal backdrops.
I'm
But
loving it. I'm loving it.
right, so that would be really cool. I know that at one point there was a plan for a BioShock film, and I am so on board with that. I mean, it's got a great plot for film or even for opera. Me and a classmate when I was in school, we actually started working on trying to draft an opera for BioShock. Like I still have the old notes, like what the different acts would encompass in some of the different scenes. The different vocal ideas, like who was going to be alto, tenor, bass, in terms of the characters.
Yep.
I'm shit at writing lyrics, so none of the lyrics survived. But I was thinking all about like here's the difference. How would we do how would we continue to emulate the Big Daddies because they have such a unique sound and they don't actually speak. We went with the idea that Jack, who's the main protagonist in the first BioShock, would not be a singing or speaking role at all, to keep in the theme of the game, where he does not speak at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, to see BioShock, and not even it doesn't even have to be the game. It could even be, like all of the turmoil that leads to the fall of Rapture. That'd be really cool to see in a film or TV show format.
Oh yeah.
Like
some sort of prequel setup that sets up the game or something like that.
Right. I mean, and I wouldn't be upset if we got to see, the events of BioShock as a TV show. I wouldn't be upset because it's got great plot that would translate over very well.
Oh, and it's aesthetic because I've seen screenshots, I've seen gameplay. Is just
the Art Deco aesthetic would be just
that's eye candy right there.
Oh, it is. It's absolute eye candy. And like, if they ever do a remastered version of BioShock, I will be the first person to purchase that.
Checking outside of GameStop and
but stuff like that would be fantastic.
Sorry, I'm taking off my shoes.
Halo has some small film adaptations that I've seen.
Yeah, like fan-made stuff, which actually isn't that bad.
Well, no, there's not just fan-made.
Also,
I know there was one that was promotional.
Yeah, there was like an 8-minute CGI segment of I think it was Halo 3.
I don't think it was. I think the one I saw wasn't CGI.
It wasn't full CGI, but there was a lot of CGI involved.
Yeah. What really needs a redo is Assassin's Creed.
Please.
And what would be really awesome is to do that animated.
Yep.
Then you don't have to rely on, CG or having, a Ray Park-esque actor, someone who's actually, accustomed, Ray Park or Tom Holland, who knows how to do those moves. Mm-hmm. You could just do it all animated and it would be kind of fantastic.
I would love something like that. Because then you could add some sense of unrealism to it, things
with all of the Isu stuff, there's that sense of, Unreal. I mean, and, focus on Ezio.
Mm-hmm.
because Ezio sells. Let's be
Or
honest.
tell a whole brand new story about an assassin we've never heard of.
Right. I mean, there's so many eras in history. Like I've talked to Phil about it, but it'd be kind of neat to see some of the other areas of the world. I mean, one thing I've always enjoyed about Assassin's Creed is all the different people that you meet that are actual, historical characters. Like playing through Odyssey, I ran into this one kid who had this name. I can't remember what his actual name was, but he's like, yeah, I like these philosophers. And your character can go, well, why don't you change your name to something that's a bit more unique? He goes, well, I sometimes go by Plato. And I sat there, I was like, oh my God, that's Plato, or, one of the people that you talk with a whole bunch is Socrates.
Yep.
You encounter.
I love that so much. I love that
I love doing, being able to encounter these characters like, Da Vinci in, in Assassin's Creed 2. Talking to Da Vinci is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Talking to King, even encountering for the 2 seconds that you do, King John in Assassin's Creed 1, or not, it's not King John, it's King Richard in Assassin's Creed 1. Because do you know what's happening at that time in England?
Oh, it's bloody.
It's Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Robin Hood happens at the same time as Assassin's Creed, which means you could turn Robin into an assassin.
Yeah, Robin. I was about to say, yeah, Robin's an assassin.
He's got the motherfucking skills to be an assassin, especially if that's King Richard who's out there fighting the Crusades. That means John's at home playing Boy King, and you can have the Sheriff of Nottingham be a Templar.
I've never heard Kayla get excited over anything before, and she's over here getting a hype as fuck for Robin Hood Assassin.
But I told Phil, it'd be really cool to see some of the other areas. I mean, some of the things I thought of were a little controversial, like, being able to actually meet Jesus of Nazareth. But
I love playing Assassin's Creed 3 because they did that too with some of the historical figures, like freaking George fucking Washington himself. Like it's awesome that I saw George and I was just I just called him George.
Yeah, no, I mean
President Washington himself, and I'm just like, oh,
I haven't played a lot. I am still working through the Assassin's Creed games, but playing Origins and meeting like Cleopatra and Julius Caesar. The biggest thing that you were missing there was Mark Antony. And I realize that Origins is like the very beginning of the Assassins, so you can't go back further, but wouldn't it be cool if you could go back? I mean, it's me on a Bible kick, and I'm not even all that religious, but going back to the time, I think historians believe it's Ramses II is when Moses appears.
Mm-hmm.
So, go back to Ramses II, show Moses, and it would piss off the Christians to no end, but have it be Moses can do all of the miracles because of Isu tech.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Or
by helpful artifacts like magic confused artifacts that have been lost to time since then, or something like that.
Or Moses is able to do everything because he managed to stumble upon a piece of Eden.
Yep, that'd be great.
That the staff of Moses is a piece of Eden. That would be fantastic. Like the staff of Pythagoras, but or like when we did Syndicate, getting to encounter Victoria. That was kind of really cool. Meeting Victoria and Sandeep Singh and all of those, and Darwin and Darwin and Dickens.
Keep giving off historical figures. Why not?
Right, but I'm like sitting there just like loving it, and they try so hard to go to different places with each one, but it's like, well, why not go back further in certain areas? Like, why not have it that we get to go meet Shakespeare and Elizabeth I? Because that'd be really cool.
How far back did the Templars go?
I mean, the Templars, as we see, at minimum, Odyssey, at minimum.
Yeah.
And Odyssey takes place after Origins, because the Cult of Cosmos is a Templar precursor.
Yeah, so how far back, like, effectively speaking, sure they go by different names, but effectively speaking,
that's before the birth of Christ.
Exactly how far back do the Templars go, really?
That's before the birth of Christ.
So you could go like wild going from that age.
Well, yeah, you could basically go all the way up to Origins, because Origins is the first appearance of the Assassins and the Templars.
Like, you could go back.
Right. But, you could go touch on... Right, and you could touch on different things. I mean, now that we've, seen things like Dickens being a friend to the Assassins, why not show Shakespeare as one, too? The guy who effectively invented so many bits of our language that we don't, that are just commonplace to us now.
Almost completely.
or
And I love it. I love every second of it.
exactly, or
Proving that
we got
all words are made up.
we got a taste of World War One in Syndicate. Why not
Yep.
go full? Why not go full balls to the wall? And maybe instead of being in England, go show an assassin that's behind lines in German territory.
Yep.
Why or have it be that some of the characters in World War II take some of those, like Noor Inayat Khan, who was like the first woman to be dropped behind enemy lines as a radio operator, who's a staunch pacifist. Why not have her be like an assassin? Take a different angle, but have it this way: your character encounters her.
Ah, okay, yep.
She's like she gives you information.
I thought about the
because she was a radio operator.
I thought about the World War angle before. Now, and it could be made to work. It could definitely be made to work. I'm not sure how. Shit, I really am not sure how. Here I am trying to think my way into that sort of situation.
Well, it works better with World War II because one thing that Hitler was really into was finding religious artifacts and items of power. I mean, that's touched on in things even in like Indiana Jones. The first Indiana Jones, Hitler was super hard into getting the Ark of the Covenant because he believed it would actually empower his army. The same with the Holy Grail. Hitler wanted it. So why not play into that? Why not make it that maybe Hitler got his hand on a piece of Eden and it's a free-for-all between the Templars and the assassins, or make it that the assassins are basically manipulating Hitler into getting these items for them.
Yep, I was about to suggest that too. It's like it's like we could get some different perspective and have some historical figures end up being victims of the assassins.
Of the assassins or the Templars, yeah.
Yeah, or you could play a Templar and end up doing away with someone who a historical figure that has been good and was assassinated. Abe Lincoln, for example, you could be a victim for a Templar.
Lincoln, or you could even have Templar playing, a Templar. Rasputin could have been a Templar.
Yep.
And watch him orchestrate the death of the Romanovs.
I mean, shit. What about fucking like Hitler's suicide? What if it was an assassin?
Or what if it was a Templar covering their tracks?
What if it was a Templar and assassin working together?
I don't know what Templars are,
but that's so rare.
Yeah, I know, but like sometimes the mutual goal, the goals are mutually beneficial.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of great territory in the Assassin's Creed world that you could touch on, both as a game or in,
I'd love to see. If it's animated, I'd love to see a TV show. But we've already had an Assassin's Creed movie. I'm sad it didn't do too well, and I'm sad that its writing was absolute shit, even though everything else was pretty much on point. I would like a redo of a film, except an actual familiar story. Maybe that could sell, like Ezio's story. Ezio will always sell. Everyone loves Ezio. I love Ezio.
Yeah, Ezio would sell. I mean, even seeing Altair would be interesting. Again,
Altair would be interesting. Yeah. Jaden, your thoughts?
Dude, I don't know, man.
That's a good one.
Hitler assassin kills Hitler, and that's my thought.
The games need to be games that actually have substance. We can't have Battleship again. We can't.
No, they pulled that shit again. I'm not buying another fucking Assassin's Creed game. Fuck. I got a refund on that.
I mean, if you wanted to go really retro, do something like Myst as like a serialized thing.
You said Myst, I had to exhale, and I was just like, let's go slow.
I mean, I haven't even gotten through all of Myst, but that would be a fantastic one.
Oh yeah. What franchise would I like to see something about? I was going through my games list, right? StarCraft was the first one that came up. I keep my second one up closer to the top. Okay, if there was a cyberpunk book. Now, I get that there's many books and many book series that are already, taking place in the genre or whatever. But I would like to see something with more emphasis on the actual cyber of cyberpunk instead of just taking place in a futuristic, highly tech advanced universe.
You,
I would
you
I
know
would like to see something that explains a little bit more, like a book that features a cyberware doctor or something like that, someone who specializes in installing
Ripper Doc?
or yeah,
Mhm.
like a Ripper Doc, exactly. I would love to follow a Ripper Doc around, get into the nitty gritties and the sciences behind cybernetic augmentations.
I'd
And
love to
that
see
would be
some Johnny Silverhand origin story.
great. Well, I mean, yeah. If you could turn that
I
into
mean,
like a movie or a show,
we see how he ends up in the construct, but I mean, like, how did he turn into that radical?
probably
How did
grew up
he
listening to
get,
rock music or something.
how did he get from being the lead singer of Samurai to the guy who decides, I'm gonna blow up Sokka Tower? What happened to lead him there?
Well,
Because that's not
you
really
could
covered in Cyberpunk.
you can actually like infer some reasonable things. Like kid grew up listening to punk rock or something like that, decided to join in on the political discourse and express his
yes and
views
no,
on
but
music, and then
also
decide,
remember,
hey, it's not enough. Let me actually take action and do that. But
but also
I
remember,
would love
it's
to see
been
an
50
actual
years
story.
since he blew up Sokka Tower. So I'd
Mhm.
love to see what did that time period look like? You know? Because, he makes all these comments like, "Well, wow, you guys have shit that we really didn't." I'd love to see, what did that world look like and how did that shape things? I mean, cuz obviously Sokka is one of the big corps even back then.
Yep.
But there has to be something other than just, oh well, I hate corpse and I'm gonna go blow up the one that's the most heavily guarded. So
Yeah.
what was the evolution? I'd love to see the evolution of Johnny
I would love
Silverhand.
to. I would love to see a canon evolution outside of like what I can reasonably infer with bits and
Mhm.
pieces of loose
Well, right.
information.
I mean, but kid, just because kid listens to punk rock and gets involved in the activism doesn't turn him into a terrorist.
Well, yeah.
So
I'm just saying. Like, here's the major points. But like, I'm agreeing with you. I would love to see like the
yeah,
nuances, and
I
details
want
of
to I want to
story.
see, like, because typically once you hit that point, you've hit something big.
Mhm.
Maybe you've converted to a new religion, or maybe something has happened to you personally. And that's what I'm wondering is, aside from his friend Art Cunningham getting stuck in Sokka Tower, but he already kind of like wanted to blow up Sokka Tower before Art Cunningham was taken to Sokka Tower.
Yep.
What was it that led him into being this guy who became one of the biggest terrorists
Egg,
in the
you
history
need
of Night
gone.
City?
I would also love to see like a short like web series or something like that, explaining the life and adventures of Jackie. That would be great too.
Mm-hmm. I'd
Because
love to see some more about
there
Jackie.
was not enough Jackie in
Yes,
that
you
game.
do.
Going
Honestly.
from growing up in the Valentinos to becoming an independent agent, because they make it really clear it is hard to leave
I'm
the
gonna be
gangs.
honest.
So how did
I have
he
no
do it?
fucking clue what we're
Well, I
talking
mean,
about.
if you're as big as
That's
Jackie,
why I'm so
you could do
quiet.
anything.
I don't know what we're talking about, so I'm
Yeah,
just
but I
letting
mean, some of those
things
Valentino
happen.
guys are pretty good. And,
Yeah.
and the nice thing too is that with that, you'd also get to see a bit more of Victor because he and Victor were in the same fighting club.
Oh yeah.
If y'all
Oh
have
yeah.
any
I would,
topic questions,
it would
be
be
sure
a
to
nice little
ask
side
them.
story to
Yeah,
attach
more
to
of
the
the
life story.
more of Misty too.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not intrigued by Misty.
I think that, they pushed so much of the, I like the old fashioned like magic kind of ideas, but they didn't get to flesh it out because they had kind of hit the ground with, oh, we already know who Misty is because, you've been doing this for a year now. It's like if we had had more time to flesh out Misty's character, she could have been a lot more interesting than just, oh, I found a tarot card. What does it mean?
Yep.
I'm doing
Yep.
podcast.
Especially given that she and Jackie had such a special relationship.
Special is a great word for it. I'm gonna I'm gonna agree with that.
They were basically dating.
They were dating.
Look,
You
shit.
attend Jackie's what is it? What
Yeah,
was it called?
no, his ofrenda.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. No, they were lovers. Like Jackie's mom
Right, and
did
so,
not approve,
well,
which
I think
was a nice was a nice touch. And you're
I
given
think
the
that might
opportunity.
also be a little bit too stereotypical Latin mother.
Yeah, my wife, my my mother-in-law actually loves the shit out of me, so I don't I don't get it.
Yeah, but you
Then
are not
again,
the son
it's me.
with the, you are not the son dating a woman. You are the man dating the daughter.
My mother-in-law.
I'm saying the dynamics when it comes to mother-in-law changes between whether or not, you know.
Oh no,
your spouse.
my mom
Yeah.
loves the shit out of my mom loves my wife.
Right, but your mother's not a Latina woman.
She could be, I don't know. How am I supposed to
That's what
know?
I'm saying.
I'm just kidding. I just,
Especially because, like, well, think about it. Jackie's kind of like the apple of his mom's eye. He's the only child I think that we know of, and he's kind of like he's not quite mama's boy, but he's pretty damn close.
yeah.
So it makes a lot
Mom,
of
I'm
sense.
gonna do this stuff. I'm gonna do this really bad
It
stuff.
makes
I'm
so
sorry,
much sense
but
that
I'm still
Jackie's
gonna do
mom
it.
doesn't like Misty because one, Misty's just so different, and
Mhm.
two, Misty's kind of a threat to Jackie staying in his mom's life. So it actually makes a lot of
I guess
sense.
so, yeah. But I love that you're given the opportunity to sort of like, bring them together and whatever and all that stuff.
And I'd love to see,
I thought that was-
because there
I
has
thought
to
that
be
was
an
a big-
event.
well enough.
There has to be an event that makes Misty so uncomfortable to actually even enter, the bar. So there has to be something that happens.
Like an awkward dinner that turns for the worst or something. Like we didn't see that or something. Like that would be pretty cool.
So I'd love to see, it would be really great to see more of Jackie because then you get to learn more about those minor characters that play such a big part in V's life.
Jaden is really happy you could take part in this podcast, man. How you doing?
I don't know what the fuck is going on. I have no clue what's happening.
Okay, so what was the question? Let me pose it to Jaden here.
And of course, I have not played Cyberpunk. I was not going to buy a game that was not finished.
Okay.
Finished. It's just a mess.
Plus, I don't have monies like that.
Get monies. All right, fine. Let's move on to the next topic so we can involve Jaden. Fighting games. We could go be talking some fighting games. Jaden.
Fighting games.
Do you play any fighting games? Not Genshin.
No.
For fuck's sake.
Dude.
Even before the podcast, I gave you a chance, like, what sort of topics would you like to discuss? And then you're just like, oh, I can't think of any.
Okay, I actually, fucking,
Kayla,
what's it called?
Kayla, we're just gonna replace the podcast segment with you and I talking Star Wars.
Yeah, go for it. Smash Bros. Fucking fighting game that I've played.
That
Fun,
counts.
love it. Kirby is the OP as shit. Great character to use, but my favorite to use is Sonic. Bam.
Yeah, Grimshy and chat went ahead and stole my idea with Soul Calibur. I'm a little upset with that.
Actually, for fighting games, I guess I fucking just recently downloaded Elden Ring. Elden Ring, Dark Souls-esque fighting game, crazy shit. I've only played for about I guess an accumulative amount of time, about an hour, but only 10 minutes of gameplay because I wanted to make my character look as close to me as possible, which didn't really work. But yeah, he still looks pretty fucking badass and kind of ish. But yeah, I am probably gonna do some Elden Ring at some point for streams and shit, so that might be fun. But
Dude, I'll tune in for that. I'd love to see you get your ass handed to you over and over again.
Oh yeah, and I see. When it comes to games like that where you get shitted on constantly and you have to see attack patterns and blah blah, knowing that I can beat it, right? 100%, knowing that it's not impossible, I will keep going until I beat it.
Yep.
The only thing is I don't know how much time I want to put into that game.
When you're stuck, you can just bring me into the stream, and I'll just start reading off some really bad fanfics. I'll be like, okay, I'll just use.
You gonna read My Immortal, Jake?
Yeah, I was reading My Immortal for a little bit. It was.
Is that the Harry Potter one?
Comfortable. Yeah, it was.
Absolutely terrible Harry Potter one. Yes.
It's awful. It's probably the worst thing I've ever read in my life. I'm gonna stop talking in this voice now because I'm starting to creep myself out. Hopefully you enjoyed the asthma segment of
continues to speak in it.
Kayla does not like that. Kayla's just like, no.
I totally forgot. One thing I'd love to see as a series. We Happy Few.
Yes.
Especially the backstory, to learn about the really bad thing. I'd love to see that as a series.
Oh yeah. What I would love to see is here I go talk about Guild Wars again. I would love to see Guild Wars 2 as either a series or as a trilogy of films. The story is
totally hijacked things.
I am completely just it's incredible as to how well put together the story is and as to how lovable many of the characters are. Except for one, fucking Logan Thackeray. Tyria would be a much better place if Logan Thackeray wasn't such a bitch. I'm just saying. I mean, Arcane was an amazing show for League of Legends. League of Legends, never played it. Never gonna.
Yeah,
so I don't feel that.
I would suggest not.
Soul Calibur was my fighting game of choice. And one of the follow-up questions to that, actually, Kayla, you got a fighting game you're a fan of? Like fighting games?
I
Tekken,
don't
Street
play
Fighter,
fighting games.
BBC?
The last fighting
Am I the
game I
only one?
played. The last fighting game I played was Super Smash Bros. When I was like 12.
For the N64?
No, I don't think so. I don't even know. It was we were at swim camp and they had a console controller at the house we were staying in, and so all the kids in the camp would take turns playing Super Smash.
I love the first Super Smash Brothers for the N64. That was awesome, dude.
So
Star
I
Fox
have no idea.
all the way. Let me ask
Kirby
about
is
the
most
Let
recent
me ask
one's
about the
fucking
controller. It
OP.
had 3 prongs to it.
You were asking me to remember something from over 15 years ago.
I remember something from over 15 years ago. What you talking about?
I don't remember that because it was for all of a week, Jake. Not even a full week. No, I don't remember what controller it was.
Okay.
What the fuck?
My
was
bad. I don't know. Just being stupid.
that? Nice.
It's just me being me. All right. So if we don't fight the fighting games like Super Smash Brothers, Soul Calibur, Tekken, Street Fighter, DBZ, all that good stuff. Guess we're just not going to talk about that anymore.
Hey, I'm hyped for Elden Ring. That game is
Elden
actually
Ring
one
is
of
not
the.
a fighting game. It's a
Yes, it is. You have a if you're a fucking hero, you're sitting there with a big ass axe, and you're like, "Ah, bah, ah," and you're fucking fighting shit until it fucking dies, or you're getting fought until you
if we're
fucking
gonna go with
die.
that loose of a fucking definition, we can talk Call of Duty as a fighting game.
Well, but they're using
Overwatch.
guns. Like
Well,
fighting is in
Overwatch
like
and
your
Fortnite.
like blunt object. Like you could use your fists, I think maybe. Like I'm talking about like hand.
That. The way you said that was brilliant. You could use your fists, I think, maybe.
I don't know. Okay, when I think of fighting, I think like using melee weapons could count. I think melee weapons definitely count. But
Well, no,
like
I'm talking
guns,
like there's you got 2 people on the screen. One's controlled by you, the other's controlled by another person or a CPU, and you go about it in this, hit point bars at the top of the screen, special moves, counter attacks, and fucking all that good shit.
yeah, nah.
Elden Ring is more like an adventure or an RPG or something like that.
Yeah, but what Tank Matt over here in my chat said Brawlhalla. Brawlhalla is a good one. That game, the fucking spam, the
Logan is a
spam
huge-
attacks
yeah,
that people
yes.
are able to do on that shit are fucking crazy, bro. People are so fucking good at Brawlhalla. It's insane, dude. It's crazy.
Also, Master Andy 9, thank you for the lurk. I appreciate you. Feel free to throw us on in the background. We provide the perfect audio with which you can use to fold your laundry, clean your room, or rob a bank too. Don't rob a bank. That was that was a joke. That was a joke. That was a bit. Don't do that.
do it.
For legal reasons, don't do that. See, I put a disclaimer. Gail, you can't be mad. I put a disclaimer.
Do it.
You can't be mad at me.
Bro,
You
I'm
say
going through
that.
these fucking these
I
gray
put a
ice cubes. Like, it's
disclaimer.
crazy.
I made a boo-boo, then I fixed the boo-boo. We're good. No boo-boo.
One of my viewers is currently robbing a bank now.
Oh, well, shit. Well, in the court of law, thank God they consider context. Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully. Right. Favorite characters, fighting styles. I guess we're not doing that. Why some games were so groundbreaking over the years? Why Halo caught on, even though there were so many FPSs at the time? Why was Halo unique? Why did Halo stand out? Why did Call of Duty get big and other games of that sort and throughout the years? Why did some games stick out and get sequels and the likes, and prequels, while other games, even though of the same genre, did not.
Well, I know for Halo, one of the game breaking, or not game breaking, but one of the big things that they did at the time, which a lot of people overlook,
Slow down. I can only listen at so many words per minute.
What?
You were talking.
I'm not even
really
speaking that fast.
Yes,
Am I?
You were. Do I have to listen faster? Listen faster.
You got to get that fucking brain cell bouncing, bro. You got to put your hat back on. Come on, man.
I can't. Phil's borrowing it. I don't know what for.
Oh, maybe it's important. But okay, one of the most groundbreaking
right now is like Jake is doing this. He said these 3 things and he's in trouble.
I told Phil you trash talking me. He goes, "What else is new?"
Halo has good driving stuff in it. They really wanted to make it a good driving-esque game, even though it's about shooting aliens. I'm sorry, I had to get a little loud. Did you hear that one?
Yeah, I got you. Loud and clear.
Yeah, but one of the things that they wanted to do in Halo that they wanted to make really, really nice was how the ATVs and for example, the warthogs and the mongooses, mongoose, yeah. However, the mongoose drive and all that. Which, when I actually played Halo for the first time, which was Halo 2 and 3 with my buddy, on the original Xbox, I thought the driving was because there was other games that had better driving in it at the time. But when the first Halo came out, apparently that was like one of the best games with driving in it.
And the gameplay shot Halo up to the ranks of games and made it as big a seller as it was.
Yeah. Also, like the horrifying alien invasion of the Flood was in there, and I feel like a lot of people really enjoyed that because that's like zombie mutation type thing, killing other aliens and as well as humans is a very interesting concept, especially in like the beginning of like 3D game, or well, beginning-ish of 3D games. And then Halo 2 just fucking, Halo 1 but better. You can't go wrong with that. And then doing the same thing with Halo 3, obviously it's going to be a banger. Jake, you okay, bro?
No.
You're frozen. You're good now.
Oh, no. Am I good? Am I?
Yeah. Oh, you're frozen. Oh, never mind. Whoa. Now I can't hear you. Yeah, you're not good anymore, dude.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, we got that. Okay.
Are we okay?
It's cutting in and out. It's like every once in a while you're okay, and then every once in a while you're not. What? How's stream going on your end?
Okay, fine.
Okay, good.
Are we okay now? Are we good?
Yeah.
I think
Fine. Fuck's sake. Was Halo 2 the game to introduce dual wielding?
Yeah.
Okay, I've completely lost my train of thought. I hate dropping connection. Fucking pisses me off every time.
Yeah, it has to happen at least once a stream.
I fucking hate it. It's so fucking dumb. Everything's fine for hours, and then it's just cut out.
At least it doesn't like turn off completely or some shit.
Kayla, you look confused.
Oh, no, I'm just checking something on stream.
Or flabbergasted.
I'm not flabbergasted. Oh, did you just restart stream? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was so confused. I was looking at the clock and I'm like, wait, it says it's only been a minute. And I know it's been closer to 2 hours.
Yeah, fun fact, we weren't actually recording or broadcasting in the first part of that stream.
Shut up. We so were.
That would be a nightmare. Do the podcast, but forget to go live.
That
Oh my god.
good thing that there's two of us doing it.
Yeah.
And we have to
It's
say,
not
"Are
even
we ready?" like
funny.
40 times in the beginning.
No, right. And then we start up, and then you're just like, let's run the intro.
Yeah. I mean, now
That's not a
it's
yapping.
it has to be a thing now.
No, it
You
doesn't.
ruined my intro too, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, but when I do it, it's funny.
Yeah, well, when I do it, it needs to be done. Okay, I'm just doing what has to happen. All right.
Listen, if you take your life advice from what I do, you're boned.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't. That's why I ruin your intro. See,
My
it comes
shoulders
full
look really
circle.
high up with this coat. Yes,
Children,
master.
that's enough bickering.
Oh,
Eh.
okay.
Halo, great game. Awesome.
Any other games
And
that
it was
were
made by a small team.
inexplicably-
In the beginning.
Any other games that were inexplicably successful for their for the time that really had no right to be?
Inexplicably? I mean, Fortnite.
I guess so. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Battle Royale wasn't even Fortnite's original intent.
What was the original intent?
Save the world.
Building and survival.
Zombies.
Literally, it's in the name. Fortnite. Building forts.
Fortnite is a
Kayla.
zombie game.
Kayla, it's Fortnite because it means 2 weeks.
It's the wrong spelling for that.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Fortnite. Fortnight. That's Fortnite.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
Hold on, I gotta
The
look this
building
up.
mechanic in the game Fortnite, right?
Sure.
Originally, the idea was not so much Battle Royale, but creating buildings to survive in.
Yeah. Against
For a Fortnite.
zombie hordes.
Building forts to survive in for a Fortnite, but it turned into Battle Royale because it was multiplayer.
Oh, that's fucking stupid. Wait,
And the reason
Well,
the Battle
they
Royale
did both
popped off
ones.
is because that was the only free part of the game.
this game is not
Mhm.
that big. It's taking over a legitimate word. What in the fuck is with this nonsense? This game does not deserve to be that big.
I mean, it makes sense.
No,
was
it
a
does
fr-
not.
It was
No,
a
it does
free
not.
Battle
What was that
Royale
game fucking-
game.
Supposed to sell
was-
to.
Yeah, competing with things like Overwatch.
How did
and,
Overwatch lose to fucking Fortnite?
And it was competing against fucking what's it called?
PUBG.
PUBG, yeah. And
Yeah,
I do
PUBG
think that
Overwatch.
Fortnite, I mean, in the beginning, Fortnite definitely was more entertaining for me than PUBG.
I've never played. Well, I played like a couple rounds of PUBG, and I was like, "This is it."
Yeah,
is
I didn't really care for PUBG that much. I loved Blackout. Blackout, best battle royale in my opinion. Blackout
that
was
was
so good.
That so far has been the only battle royale to come out from a major game making people.
Well, and Warzone.
Well,
Which
yeah.
a lot of people like Warzone more than Blackout, but I think Blackout was better. I liked Blackout way more
Same
than Warzone.
shit.
No, it's different.
It's not different. It's the same shit.
It's different. Trust me, it's different.
The only thing that
attack-
stands out most about all the games we mentioned about this battle royale genre was Fortnite, and that's only because you can like build walls out of
Okay.
nowhere.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Fortnite is the most different out of all of them that weren't copying Fortnite. Like carbon copy Fortnite remake things.
People, well, I mean, I'm not
I
surprised.
mean, do you want another game that got way more popular than it probably was expected to?
but probably Among Us.
Well, that, but also I was gonna go Five Nights.
Yeah, that's facts. That's
Because
facts.
Among Us
The
makes
look on your
sense
face was
because of
amazing.
when Among Us was released.
Dude, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 when it first came out, fucking banger. And you want to know what was even more
Blew up.
more of a banger than Five Nights at Freddy's 1? Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I shit bricks when that came out, dude.
Why are there more? Are there more than five Nights at Freddy's games?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
One,
They've
two,
been
there's the
creating
three
the game
mains,
since
and
like
there's Sister
2014 or
Location,
2012.
Help Wanted, and then Security Breach. There's 6 main games.
Why is
And
it not the same Nights at Freddy's?
wait, did you wait? What, there was another one.
Five Nights at Freddy's 1, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Five Nights at Freddy's 3, Sister Location,
The fourth.
Help
No,
Wanted.
there was a fourth one.
There is a 4th one?
Yeah, the one where it was in the house or whatever.
There's 7 games then. Why is it not
That's
called Seven
8.
Nights at Freddy's?
There's 7. No, there's actually 8. There's a one that's called fuck. It's with the one where you build your own pizzeria, and then there's like a bunch of extra characters and shit. But
Simulator.
yes, and that's like also canon. So yeah, there's 8 games.
Why is it not 8 Nights at Freddy's then?
Because it's supposed to be 5 nights at one location
is.
per time.
So yeah, it's one. So basically, 5 Nights at Freddy's. You survive 5 nights at the Freddy's location in the
Yeah.
game.
What kind of job lasts only 5 nights?
What?
Well, you're not supposed to. Have you ever? Do you know anything about the 5 Nights at Freddy's games, dude?
No, some.
Okay, so basically, Jake, we'll walk you through this real quick.
Oh yeah.
You play as a security guard who has just been hired at
I'm a
Freddy
security-
Fazbear's Pizzeria.
I'm a security guard at a pizzeria. Why does a pizzeria need
Yeah.
a security guard?
Because the animatronics are
At
rogue.
night, the animatronics are programmed to roam so that their servos don't lock up. But the animatronics are also a little bit fucked up. So if they see you, they assume that
They
you're an
got soul juice
animatronic
in it.
out of costume and will attempt to stuff you in one and kill you.
Okay, so what
So
happens in the morning?
your job. So well, no, that's the point. Is you just have you're the night shift.
Okay.
So your entire goal is to ensure that these animatronics do not do things they're not supposed to, specifically that they do not come into the security office and kill you.
Okay.
So you so each
survive.
night is like 5 to 7 minutes long, and you basically have to sit there watching the cameras in the original 5 Nights games, making sure you know where all the animatronics are, closing doors as necessary, while conserving power until 6 a.m. and then you complete the night.
Okay.
And there's shit tons of lore, which is why the game
there's a
popped
lot
off.
of lore. Like
The
you
lore
know,
in the first,
behind
second, and
No,
third-ish game,
That would
good.
be a
After
problem
that,
if there
it's
was
like,
no night. If there was no night shift, what would happen? What would be in the
the
morning?
animatronics. Well, the animatronics could do some serious damage.
To what? The building?
Yeah, to the building, or if somebody broke in, they could kill them.
Well, that's
Literally,
something at that point.
I mean,
I
Jake, for
think-
fuck's sake, one of the animatronics actually like bit into a kid's head and caused severe brain damage.
I'm just trying to figure this out. Come on, what the fuck is with the-
No,
the
the
story
whole
is too
idea is
complex
that
for us to get into.
because-
Okay, it gets really fucking
Because
fucked.
Jake, essentially because the animatronics are such complex IP, they want to make sure that one, nobody tries to take them, and two, the animatronics don't break.
Oh, so they're capturing
It's like,
souls
okay,
inside of the
Jake,
animatronics.
think of it this way. It's like a parody of Chuck E. Cheese.
No, I got that. I got that.
Yeah, so that would make sense that they'd have security guards there at night.
Okay. I think I get it now.
So basically, during the course of a game, there are 5 nights that you have to survive, each night getting progressively harder as new animatronics are introduced.
But why are there
And then
only
at the
5?
end, what?
What if I want to work longer than a work week?
Well, you get fired at the end of the 5th night.
Why?
You just do.
The fuck?
There is
You
actually a
either
6 and a
die
7
and you have to
night.
start the whole game over, or you finish and they fire you for some stupid reason.
And you get paid like
But-
nothing.
Yeah, you get paid like nothing. But the
Welcome
other
to night
thing,
shift.
but the thing is, like, your predecessor was probably killed by one of the animatronics, and like, you can create custom nights, so you could actually keep playing as many nights as you want
I
by
forgot
creating
about
different
that.
nights with different difficulty. But the main story is 5 nights.
I forgot about the 2020 mode.
Yeah,
Oh my god. Yeah, that shit
Among
was
other things.
fucked.
Okay. Okay, that makes
when you-
sense.
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
that's the format of the first 4 games. Then when you get to Sister Location, it starts to change.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
You start
because
delving a bit more into the
there's-
story.
Pizzeria Simulator, Help Wanted, and Security Breach. Yes, this
Yeah.
just became the Five Nights at Freddy's podcast. No, it fucking did not. Welcome to.
Yeah, no.
I don't know Pizzeria Simulator, but like Help Wanted is basically like you.
Oh, that
It's
shit
like it's a spoof on itself. So basically,
It's
it's, like,
so
oh, we
scary.
created a video game based off of this guy's video games, but it's in VR.
Super meta.
But then there's like a little subplot, so you can basically play through all.
Can I play that on VR?
I played that shit on VR and it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
It is horrible.
So it's
so
basically the first
scary.
4. It's basically the first 4 or 5 nights, all in VR.
Bring it.
with additional subplot to
Bring
keep
it.
things moving. And then Security Breach is the most recent one, where it's actually like a whole pizzaplex and mall kind of thing that you have to escape from, not as a security guard, but as a kid who stayed after the building closed.
That's
Jake,
fucked. I know about
have
that
you-
one.
have you seen the clip that I made with the jump scare that I got on Help Wanted? Have you seen that before or no?
I think so.
Okay, never mind. That game is fucking awful. It's scary. Hella scary.
I felt like I felt like I just got like a disciplinary or something.
You know,
I
I'd
need to
say
know this.
It's like, I
you
just
don't
wanted to
wanna-
know some things. Why am I being
if you
yelled at?
don't want to play it, Jake, which I wouldn't blame you. I suck with jump scares, so it's not my type of game. I recommend Markiplier's playthroughs.
I mean, I
Yeah.
would, but no.
No, I'm saying if you don't want to play it, you could always watch Markiplier's playthroughs.
No, I don't,
Like,
I don't
that's-
have too much interest in the franchise. Like, the franchise has been out
Well,
for like
yeah.
so long, and I still don't know jack shit about it. That should tell you how
But
interested I am.
like, I mean, and it spawned a bunch of people creating spin-offs like or yeah, game theory for the lore, or you could even just go to the Five Nights at Freddy's wiki.
Call a theory, a
But-
game theory.
They have way
What
too
kind of-
many videos on that fucking game, dude. Or
What kind
that
of genius
series.
But
was that outro? I'm kidding. I'm
I
kidding.
mean, that game had no business being as popular as it is. There's, there was just it had
Well,
no
it's also
business
one of
being
the.
that
It's also,
popular.
it's also like one of the first big games that were played by a bunch of big name like streamers, right? And content creators. and all
Yeah,
that.
I mean, but then it spawned a bunch of people making spin-offs. Like Markiplier's played through some of them. One of the ones that sticks in my head is like Five Nights at the Krusty Krab and Five Nights at the Chum Bucket.
Dude,
where they
those are
turned it on
fucking-
its head and made it SpongeBob.
Five Nights at Flumpty's.
That's funny.
That was
That
fire.
one.
That one is fire.
Can we do a Five Nights at Jake's? That'd be
Yeah.
Five
awesome.
Nights at Impulse Squared.
Fucking Meat Canyon did a video about Markiplier and
Yeah,
Five
the-
Nights at Freddy's, and it
the
was
player
fucking
has to survive.
amazing.
The player has to survive five different nights while being hunted by both Xander and the Chaos Beast.
No, it would be with us, Jake. So like, there'd be like me with like some actual weapon to actually beat people with a pulp with.
I'd use my ginger powers. I'd be like, "Mm," and then their head would explode and their soul would come out and I'd eat it or some
That's
shit.
not
You don't know how ginger powers work.
When you did that.
Oh, hello, inside ghost. So, hello. So we've actually been talking for a couple hours now, but we talk about all sorts of things, mainly in the realm of content creation and gaming. So like, right now we're talking about games that
Nightmare
blew up in popularity or changed the game that kind of came out of nowhere.
How's
For
your guys' day going?
instance,
We're doing
like
the podcast
Halo,
and we're talking about
or
like
Five Nights at Freddy's,
content stuff.
or
She's talking
what was
about
the
what
other
we're
one
talking
we
about.
mentioned? Fortnite. We have a couple other topics for the night. We're kind of reaching towards the end of our podcast, but thank you for joining.
Yeah, if you have any thoughts, go ahead and share them. Fuck yeah. So I asked that question last week. What are the I don't actually have an end of podcast question this time.
Wait, didn't we have one more topic we were going to cover?
It was going to be about music, actually, Kayla.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well,
Whoa!
that's why I'm saying. What do you want from me?
Well, was there something specific that you had tried to talk about the last
Yeah.
time?
Yeah, because you have higher standards than the rest of us. What? What? I
Come
don't know
on,
why that
spit it
was
out.
funny.
Spit it out.
Thank y'all for tuning in to the Impulse Squared podcast.
What was
Damn
the
it,
fucking
Jimmy.
topic? Now I'm curious.
What was the topic, man?
Because we talked. Kayla wasn't here when we talked about our favorite video game soundtrack. So Kayla, favorite video game
Oh,
soundtrack.
okay. Okay.
It can't
So,
Star Wars does not count as a video game soundtrack.
what doesn't?
Star Wars, any Star Wars game.
Fine. So for reference, so that everybody in the stream chat understands why Jake wants me to answer this question.
I want to answer the question so bad.
Jesus
So,
Christ.
a long
Like a
time
child at
ago,
Walmart.
in a galaxy far, far away, Long before Impulse was born, I was actually a music major. I was a music major. Specifically, I went to school for music composition with the aim of one day writing for film and video games. So that's why Jake wants my answer to this question.
I want her answer so bad.
Video game music. Okay.
Yeah. Jake, why don't you have her for an answer or a response? Why don't you come at her like, come on, move it along, like you were doing with me? Answer the fucking question.
I can't give you a single one.
Okay,
and I'm not sure why you expect me to do a single one. Okay. Well, I mean, BioShock and Mass Effect are classics, and I love the way they're built. I enjoy The Last of Us, especially just because, for the most part, it's just guitar, which is really fantastic. Civilization 4.
Civ 4 is nice.
Civ 4 is fantastic. I do love Civ 5, but Civ 4 with Baba Yetu is just like...
Oh, Civ 5 and Civ 6 was actually really good about it, too. I love that.
Yeah, I haven't played Civ 6 on principle.
What does that mean?
I don't like that they went super caricature with all the characters and stuff.
Okay, yeah, fair. No, that's fair. I do love the simplicity of 5. We still have to fucking play.
Yes, we do.
I don't know if I want to record it or if I just want to get my ass kicked. I'll record it. If I win, it goes up. If I don't, it goes down.
Nice.
What else? I almost have to pull up my Spotify to actually see what I've listened to recently for this, because this isn't one I have off the top of my head.
Right on. Sleep Token, best band. I disagree. The best band has to be Dope. Dope has to be the best band of all time.
Best band of all time has to be Foo Fighters 100%.
Foo Fighters
is a god.
Foo Fighters if you're a basic bitch.
No. Dave Grohl is an amazing god, and he's awesome.
He might
Muse. Muse is one of the top bands on my list.
Muse is great if you want to fall asleep.
Dude.
God of War. I do.
You like future shit, man.
I do like the most recent God of War soundtrack because Bear McCreary did a great job there.
Yep.
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy is always going to be great.
Especially One Winged Angel.
Yep. I listened to there was somebody who put together a Doom style rendition of One Winged Angel, and I listened to that and I was just like, whoa,
so
that's heavy.
I'll go a little bit more obscure with Myst. I enjoy Myst, especially given that the Myst was created by 2 people and one of them wrote the music, and it's all programmed in, so that's really awesome. It was all programmed music.
Nice.
And then I will also say Advent Rising.
That's a good one.
That's good. I love that soundtrack. And
what I didn't mention when I'd asked last this question was Perfect Dark. Awesome music. Some of it was very frantic, and some of the I think some of the gimmicks is like the latter half of a level or something like that would play like a more frantic or more excited version of the soundtrack you hear going into the level, which was phenomenal for the time. That was unheard of in the glory days of Rare Entertainment.
I mean, and of course, it has to be said, Halo.
Yes. The Halo soundtrack is fucking...
Halo and Advent Rising were two of the first video game soundtracks, that I was introduced to outside of the game.
Yep.
Thanks to video game. Thanks to Tommy Tallarico and Video Games Live.
Yep.
Which is basically a group that just plays video game music.
Binding of Isaac.
I actually got to play an arrangement of both Halo and Advent, when I would go to music camp every year.
Really?
So
So jealous.
So that was, I loved that. If we were talking film soundtracks, I could be here all night, but...
Topic for next podcast.
But yeah, that would be my answer for sure, would be, those, but for sure, definitely, Halo would be in the top for me, Advent, Mass Effect, especially the theme, because I just love, it's so chill, and it's just so, like, haunting. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And then, BioShock, because I'm a sucker for a solo string, just, like, go off and do your thing. literally
Go
the
off
part
and
of
do your
like the
thing.
Bioshock intro is just like literally part of like the intro to Rapture is just this one violin just going da 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 da, and you're just like yes.
Can
And
you
The
imagine
Last of Us for
imagine
sure.
the studio recording of that? Just a dude or a chick or just somebody standing there with going. "Ah!"
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Speaking as a string player, I always love soundtracks like that. I don't know The Binding of Isaac, Grimchi, so I'll have to listen to that. Like at some point, I also know like I got to meet Jennifer Hale about 6 years ago when she came to Denver Comic Con, and she suggested looking into The Long Dark because that was the project she was working on at the time. I have no idea what you just said, Jake.
I don't remember what I just said. Oh, my
Oh,
wife has
okay.
that game.
Yeah, no, I have it. I just haven't played it yet. So I want to play it and I want to listen to the soundtrack just because, you know, FemShep.
Bad idea. Oh,
FemShep gave me life advice because she heard that I had wanted to, you know, work in gaming. So,
Jake, how's your nose
yeah.
feel, bro?
awful.
Was it worth?
No.
Yeah, if we were talking, you know, film and musicals and stuff, we'd be here.
Oh
all
yeah.
night.
100%. And I did say I enjoy the Cyberpunk soundtrack because no shit, I love my electronic music sometimes.
Mhm.
It's one of my, well, it used to be a guilty pleasure. Now I'm just out with it now. I'm just like, fuck yeah.
I know you said no Star Wars, but you know, like
Fine, let's talk Star Wars music.
Honorable mention.
John
mainly
Williams- John
because
Williams, the London Symphony
I
Orchestra.
have to make the argument because John Williams didn't do any of the music for the games.
Mhm.
You know, so things like Jedi Fallen Order, I love that they kept to, you know, that style, but they made it their own.
Yes, I love that they reached out to The Who for some of the music
Right.
there.
You know, or even like going so far back as to KOTOR and, you know, especially the Sith Lord's theme, you know, for the second game.
Yep.
That was fantastic.
I
and
recently
epic.
watched a clip of Darth Nihilus shitting on Darth
Mhm.
Sion after Darth Sion said, "Oh, I didn't need you anyway in the first place," and then it's just like, no, she's like, "Who
Mhm.
needed who?"
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, although we are getting John Williams back for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Yes, and we know
Even
he's
though
not.
he said that episode 9 he was retiring with, he's coming back for the Obi-Wan series.
I mean, it's fucking Obi-Wan.
Well, right, but you know, I mean, Williams is getting up there. He's almost 90, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So you know, he's kind of, and he's literally been scoring Star Wars since 1977. So I can't blame him for wanting to be like, you know what, I've done my part for this. It's been almost 50 years, but you know,
Also, Rogue One introduced a lot of
Michael
awesome
Giacchino did excellent for Rogue One.
Oh yeah, I actually, because back when I was playing Star Wars Galaxies and all that, I'd actually swapped out some of the music files there and replaced it with music from Rogue One, and I was just like, yes.
Well, I mean, you know, it's like Kevin Kleiner and Clone Wars and Rebels turning the Star Wars theme into something that was a bit more fun for kids, but still stayed true to kind of the ideas that you get for Star Wars was absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful renditions.
I mean, yeah, John Williams was the guy who made me want to write music for film.
Of course, John Williams has been so influential.
He's iconic. I mean,
oh yeah,
so many iconic soundtracks of the last 30, 40 years are Williams. I mean, Indiana Jones, Jaws, Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, Superman. These are all hugely iconic things.
It would be a grave injustice to all of music in general if John Williams, by the time of his passing, is not said to be up there with the likes of Beethoven and Bach and all the great composers from way back.
That's way different. I'm not going to get into that because that's a totally different conversation.
His name needs to be up there in the history of
his name
music.
is up there already because of all the things he's done. I mean,
so that's why I'm saying it'd be a grave injustice if he,
with the exception of maybe a handful of Steven Spielberg's films, all of Spielberg's films are scored by John Williams.
Mm-hmm.
one of the most prolific and successful directors of all time has John Williams as his main scorer. You know, with the exception of things that he wasn't available to do.
Right.
But I mean, because like Beethoven and Bach, the main reason that they are, you know, they make such a name for themselves is because they rewrote the book. Beethoven is the turning point from the classical period as it starts to move to the romantic. He started breaking the rules, not to mention the fact that, you know, he was deaf by the time he wrote the Ninth Symphony.
Yeah.
But, I mean, because quite literally, like, the Ode to Joy, that was a peasant song. The fact that Beethoven used that in a symphony was unheard of at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so Beethoven was this huge pivot into what became the Romantic era of music, where you get, you know, the greats like Schubert and Chopin.
But what I'm saying is John Williams needs to be up there with them because he's just been
Right.
so influential.
Well, yeah, he's been influential. It's just it's hard to quantify because he's been influential mainly in one genre.
Oh yeah.
Whereas these guys, I mean, even Bach, you know, he kind of rewrote the way that we think about music with fugues and all of the different like little pieces he wrote.
This is why I wanted to talk music. Galen knows her shit.
Right. I mean, because like, you know, Bach really kind of focused on the technical and created something that was, you know, I mean, pianists still go and learn, you know, still go through the well-tempered clavier. Now it is now considered, you know, it's a staple piece of like music theory to actually analyze pieces of the well-tempered clavier. You know, it was a huge point of the Baroque period. He's the big name for the Baroque period. And then you get to the classicals and you get Mozart and Beethoven and Haydn. And, you know, those are the big three of the classical era. And then after that, you start to branch out more and more and more from that. And you get, you know, again, Chopin, the Schuberts, both Franz and Clara. You know, you start breaking out, and then, you know, you get to the 20th century, and everybody just decided to go, fuck it, I'm making my own rules.
Well,
that's just what happened.
Because now we just ended up with like 1,000 different genres of music. There's
right.
something for everyone.
So like, I can see, you know, like Williams belongs in conversation with some of the greats like Copland and Bernstein. Because that would be that's the category he fits in. These are guys that
well, of course there are categories, and of course there are reasons that different different composers ended up in where they are in history. But what I'm saying is, like, in general, it would be unfortunate if John Williams was not considered up there simply because he, I don't know, for some reason didn't, you know, sort of make his own way into things or something like that. I don't know.
I get that. I mean, he's fantastic, and I mean, you know, I've listened to some of his non-movie stuff, and it's really interesting. There's because I mean, originally he was a jazz pianist.
Was he? I didn't know that.
Yes, he was.
That's awesome.
I mean, you know, he even one of the, you know, how there are two different Olympic themes. He wrote one of them.
No shit.
Yeah.
No shit. Okay, yep. John Williams is one of the greats. I guess that's what I'm saying. Is like, just say like one of the greats. It doesn't matter what they're great for.
Yeah. No, he is. He's iconic. He's absolutely iconic. And I mean, the only other guy that, you know, has become quite as prolific as he has in the last 20, 30 years is Hans Zimmer.
Yep, Hans Zimmer. I was about to bring him up.
I'm okay with Hans Zimmer.
I don't think
guys I prefer a little more.
I don't think Hans Zimmer has really done anything sort of what is the word I'm looking for here? He hasn't really done anything that would help him sort of stand out as history would remember. Accepting only the fact that Hans Zimmer, I don't think, has ever missed a mood with his music. He has always been able to set a mood very well.
Well, yeah, I mean, even going so back as far back, and I know that he's done more than this, but this is the first one that always pops to mind in terms of far back. Lion King.
Yep.
You know, from Lion King to, you know, looking at other things like Pirates of the Caribbean, which, I mean, the first one he did with Klaus Badley, but, you know, everything after that is just purely Hans Zimmer, to things like the Batman trilogy to Inception, because pretty much now, very much in, again, like Spielberg and Williams, you know, Burton and Elfman. That would be another prolific one, would be Danny Elfman, but he's very eclectic the way he does things. We have Chris Nolan and Hans Zimmer.
Mhm.
That's another really classic pairing now. But there's other composers out there that are super great too, like Michael Giacchino, the guy who wrote the music for
We really can't
Rogue
go on.
One, but he also wrote the music for Up.
Oh.
Hell, he even did Black Hawk Down. Um,
That's how you know someone's
Giacchino,
talented. If they can do both Up and Black Hawk Down, it's like
right? Giacchino, Alexander Desplat, who wrote the Harry Potter music for 5, 6, and 7, both 7-1 and 7-2. He also wrote like The Imitation Game. There's quite a few out there. I mean, Thomas Newman, that's also another big one. He does lots of Disney. I know he did Nemo. I think he did Atlantis. Can't remember everything off the top of my head right now.
right.
But there's
Yeah, we could
so
go on with
many.
movies all night. We could
Oh
go.
yeah,
We should dedicate. We should probably sit down and probably have a chat more about music and whatnot because
I mean, if we're gonna do that, then you got to
It's
give
like-
me more than a
it's like
couple
I
hours
feel-
prep time.
yeah no and it feels weird doing that because like by comparison to your talents, I've heard some of the things you've pieced together. I'm just like, let's compose a basic ass melody, throw on some drums, fucking press a space bar, call it good. And
In fairness, Jake, I've had lots of training in things like theory.
yep.
So, like, I mean, like even in high school.
Oh, what does this sound like? Oh, that sounds cool. Throw it in.
No, I mean, even in high school, I took 2 years of theory and then continued that in college for 4. But a lot of times composing is, well, here's bits of theory that I can keep. What am I throwing out? What just sounds good?
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of the beauty of being in the 21st century is that more often than not now, yeah, there are basic tenets of theory that have been drilled into your head once you've gone through, at least your bachelor's. And you always have to sit there and be like, okay, do I want to do this counterpoint where, one line's going up and one's going down so that there's interest? But then there's also things like, well, what can I do if I put this like an octave higher to break things? Or do I want it to be really close so that it's dissonant and sounds grungy?
Yeah, and how much do I want to fuck with the percussion? Should I fuck with the percussion, Zadie?
Well,
Should I take
exactly.
something
And
out?
there's time. I mean, thank God we're not in the time where the church literally told you what intervals you could and couldn't use.
I remember that I was taking a I had a brief interest in music. I took a music appreciation course as part of like preliminary for theory. And I heard about that, and I was like, oh, what the? Huh?
Yeah. The church used to
I learned about
dictate
that. I was like,
what
okay.
chords you could use and what intervals you could use for music. And then as music became more secular, those rules went out the window for the most part, or they started to.
Oh,
They
yeah.
really went out of the window by the time you hit the 20th century, which was fantastic. So like I've written stuff that's really cool sounding that's not that, doesn't really follow any sort of like specified key sig. And
That's
then
the
there's
stuff
stuff
I
that
like.
I've written.
Stuff I like the best. I like things that sort of bend the rules extremely
Right.
so.
That's the beauty. I mean, like we have operas now that are just like so epically epic that break those rules. Like the one that comes to mind is John Adams' Dr. Atomic, which I mean the subject matter in and of itself is really cool because it's the story of Oppenheimer and the creation of the A-bomb.
Yep.
But
For reference, Jaden, if you don't know, Oppenheimer was the man that said, "I am become Death Destroyer of worlds."
yeah,
Oh, okay.
he's
He
literally the
created
guy
atom bomb.
who headed the Manhattan Project. So he was the key, like he was like the lead scientist in the creation of the atomic bomb.
He was the dude that can be said to be instrumental to the bombings of Hiroshima and
Nagasaki.
Nagasaki. Thank you. That one always escapes me. I don't know why.
But, just like we get all these rule breaks and it's great. I mean, one thing I love doing that my teachers really encouraged was looking at ways to confuse the beat. So that you don't just sit there and go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, instead you're sitting there like, well, I can feel the beat, but I don't know where the actual bar starts or ends.
Yep.
Because, one thing I always know is like, with pop songs, you always know how many beat, it's 3 or 4 beats, and you know exactly where the bar line is.
Yep.
You can set your watch by it. But when you get into more orchestral stuff, I mean, even like bits and pieces of Star Wars, you can't find it, and it's fantastic because it's like, this is what I want. I don't want it to always be predictable. I want there to be, different things, or looking at like, oh, we're repeating something, but you know what? Let's take out this one note that people are expecting, and instead have just blank
Yep.
space.
Yep.
It was so much fun.
You can take out a couple notes at the beginning of the bar so people are drawn in, then you hit them with the riff,
Right.
and it's like, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that's always been super fantastic about writing, and I'm still I'll always write for strings first because I'm a string player, but it's always fun to kind of look at what other instruments can do. So like I still reach out to my musician friends and I'm like, hey, if I were to do this, how feasible is that for you?
Okay. Okay.
Or I'll pull out my old textbook on orchestration.
Well, everyone has sort of a different approach. You start by composing the shift the strings, and I'm over here like, let's start with the kicks.
Let's be honest though, Jake, really what I do now is I write it all as in like piano music, really condensed now, and then I start to build it out once I have an idea as to where I want things to go. So I figure out like what my foreground and my background is, and then and then after I've heard it enough times that I'm like, okay, I kind of know what instruments I want, then I start actually orchestrating it for the.
Yeah, that's a lot more. It's sort of true what most people would call snobheads or whatever would say about music and the composition of the production of electronic music versus more classical stuff. It's like they're different, yeah, but electronic music is so much easier. It's so much more simple.
Well, it's really not. I mean, I took courses where we looked at electronic music, especially a lot of folks approach it from a coding perspective.
Yep.
So it's actually a lot more difficult. I mean, we used to have up at CU, actually I think they still do it. We had one concert every year in our program that was dedicated just to electronic music, and you didn't have to be in the composition department to have an entry.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a contest. So
well, I mean,
play all the pieces, and then
it can be complicated. It can be be complex, though so often it isn't, and you can still come up with something that'll, at the very least, sell without it being too complicated. In fact, it's almost preferred by the industry if it's not.
But nowadays, I'm just saying, like, composers, there's not this huge distinction between, oh, well, electronic music's easier, because sometimes it is, but sometimes it isn't. I mean, it all depends on what you're writing and what you're writing for, because, you would think that writing like a string quartet would be easier than writing for full orchestra, but, because the string quartet's such an iconic grouping, that's different. You have to kind of honor that. So it can be pretty difficult, speaking as someone who's written for both. Working with electronic music or being like, hey, I'm going to put recorded tracks down on top of stuff. Or, hey, I'm going to throw out time signature entirely and just do this where you need to have a timer and you're counting seconds. I mean, there's so much more flexibility and acceptance about different styles nowadays.
Oh yeah. Well, there's also, like, especially in electronic music, there's a sort of push for more unique sounds, because like there's only so many things you can do with a single sound. So what ends up happening is, and this has been going on for a while, but it's more prevalent lately than ever before, is layering different sounds to come up with a brand new brand new type of kick or brand new synth or something like that.
Someone that would be interesting for you to listen to, Jake, would be Pamela Z.
Put a pin in that, because I will actually want to take a listen to that.
She's a CU alum, so I got to meet her, and she's pretty cool. She was an opera major who now does like live electronic music, where it's part layering her voice over and over and part actual electronic sound.
Mm-hmm. They actually have beatboxing competitions where they have a station in front of them, and they'll sort of like beatbox at different noises, sort of edit that, and then repeat the process, and they just come up with something completely live, but it sounds like something that was like pieced together over weeks, and it's pretty awesome to be able to see things like that. Anyway, before we go on too late, it's already like we're almost pushing 3 hours. So I finally came up with the next question. That's what I was writing earlier, and it's a revisit to a question we had before. But but less from the perspective of business and fixing problems than more it is a sort of fantasy. I guess in this podcast we're exploring more fantasies and subjectivity and whatnot, rather than discussing the intricacies and technicalities of gaming and pop culture. So with this question, and Jason, fuck me, this is the second time
That
I've done
was again. Come on, man.
Jaden, I have this question specifically so you can answer it.
Okay, thank you. And I know, okay, I do know a little bit about music, but it's not like on a theory standpoint. It's more of like a self-taught
And that's fine.
guitarist standpoint.
I talk theory because it's what I know. So
yeah, I took a theory class and it was like they fucked me in that class because it was all based on like piano and voice type stuff, and it was with like a bunch of like band kids and choir kids who already knew what theory was. I was the only kid in there that wanted to do it because I was a self-taught guitar. Well, I wouldn't say I played guitar. You
got thrown in the deep end without like you had a disadvantage because you didn't know the staff music, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then everyone. No, I literally like the teacher passed me in that class just because, like, I literally couldn't learn it because I just couldn't. None of it made sense.
I will admit, staff music's tricky, especially switching between the clefs. Like, as a viola player, I read alto clef, which literally no other instrument reads. So jumping into theory and treble and bass clef, like, I knew treble because as a violist, we sometimes play in it, and I started teaching myself bass, but it was a struggle. And thankfully, early theory stays mainly in the alto clefs, and I was sitting there like, yes, and all my classmates were super confused because they couldn't read it. But it's tricky.
Yeah, it was weird.
Advantage.
It was, the music theory, just I don't know. The only thing that I want to learn that it even comes close to music theory is like scales for the guitar, and that's it. Pretty much.
Nice. It takes a lot of patience, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I am bad with patience sometimes, especially when it comes to like guitar and music type stuff. I just want to like make music, come on, let's go type shit.
By the time I took a formal theory class, which was when I was 16, I'd been playing for 6 years. So I'd been reading it for 6 years.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So, you could probably take it before 6 years, obviously. You could take it like, you just have to understand how to actually read the music you're looking at, and then after that,
I didn't even know how to do that.
I mean, that's really the biggest thing you need to know. And then after that, you learn everything else, like how to build intervals, because like that's not something we would have known as band and orchestra kids, because we only look at our own part and not the whole picture. So I can guarantee that those kids that you were with were just as confused. It just didn't. They just had a slight advantage over you because they could read it.
Yeah, and it didn't help that I kind of like right at the beginning of it was like, okay, I don't understand, and then I just stopped doing things. That was like towards my junior year where I was like, school fucking doesn't matter, fuck this shit, and I was like, I mean, it mattered to me. It's just I knew that I wasn't going to college after that, so I was like, all right, I just need to pass the classes that I need to pass and whatever, and yeah. So I didn't really. It was a little bit of my fault, but they did kind of. I was thrown into the deep end, and the same thing happened to one of my homies that was a year older than me the year previously, because he also was a guitarist that got thrown into it. And he was like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that because some guitarists know tablature instead of sheet music, or instead of staff music, it makes it difficult.
Yeah. I see. I work a lot better with the guitar, seeing like numbers and shit, like
seeing the tablature. Like, I mean, because like, there are guitar majors, and stuff, when you get to the when you get to the academic level that
Jake, what the hell are you doing?
Professors of guitar. But I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He might be high. But
much, Kayla.
I know you haven't. I was just making a joke. But they by that point they've had to learn both tablature and sheet music, because sometimes they're not just playing the traditional 6-string guitar that we know today. So
right on. Next question.
Okay, what's the last
Excellent
question?
Kayla, I love that nod you did. You're like being like you were like some like major like book author or book author. Fuck me. Like you're an author, and I was just like, okay, next question. You're just like,
I
Let's
knew we
get
were
it.
kind of going on
like-
and on.
you're like,
You were just
right.
waiting.
Hour 30 or 2 hour 30. Let's get it.
right on. Okay, excellent question. We're gonna revisit the same question as before, but with a little different perspective. If you could work with any game studio, what would you do with them? Now, it's less about working with a major game studio and fixing what problems they have, and more about we're more free to do things now. Say, because that was like the first, I think the first or second podcast I asked that question, and I was like, what would you do to help them, be better? Like, what could you do? But in this case, say you're working with a major game studio, you fixed the previous one's problems, now you're somewhere else, and now you can do whatever you want.
I would really want to work on like creating like a story. I guess I would want to do a lot of story writing for it. But like I would want to be actually no. I would want to be the dude to help like fine tune a story. Like if there's any like anything that like I see that it's like that's what I mean, that would be kind of an easy job I guess for that. But like
Certainly.
I would want to fine tune a story to make it more fit better for someone who is in that genre for the fucking selected audience type. I would want to like fine tune like certain story elements, and then I mean also make assets because fucking 3D modeling is awesome. As long as I don't have to texture shit. I fucking hate texturing. But I can do all of the shit other than texturing.
It came from Jaden. Everything works except the textures.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great game, AAA game, but everything looks like gray Play-Doh.
Kayla, what would you do? You'd probably compose music for a video game, huh?
I mean, I'd love to compose music. I'd also love to just work in game design, either, working on the story of the game, kind of like what I'm doing now with our endeavors, or, I'd love to do the UX. I really would, because
Really?
there's so much stuff. Yeah, working on how you experience the game and how you interact with it, that's really cool to me, figuring out, okay, so what is it that, like, say a player is missing a button. Why are they missing the button?
Yep.
What can we do to make sure that they see the button and actually interact with it?
I can see the appeal to a job like that too, because then it's like you make sure that everything's done right so far as like the player interacting with the game itself. Not only that, but it can be fun from a technical standpoint, because then it's like, oh well, this is happening. I could end up doing this, and it makes sense. All that good stuff.
Or
So it's
even
not
like
I have
So it's not
the
just
book that I'm reading.
Jesus.
The book
He's
that I'm reading
awake.
now talks about like how sometimes your player will do something totally unexpected and just throw everything out the window, and it's just like, oh, that I didn't even think of that. Getting to have those moments is awesome. I mean, yes, I would love to write music for games, even if it's just for small games, like, for like our projects. But because I've always been interested, even when I wanted to just be a video composer, in the experience, how did the music affect what you were seeing on the screen?
Sneeze on me.
From anything from roaming into a combat zone to get it, and you got combative music, to how did music change the context of a cutscene? So,
or help
being
to
able to-
deliver the mood that the
exactly.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, it's the same thing with film, because it's like you get like 60% of your information in film, and by extension video game, from sound. So being able to be a part of the experience, whether it's working on visual design or working on sound engineering or working on music, I'm down.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. You have a well-rounded selection of talents with which anyone can pick apart, pick on you for, and being like, yeah, we need you for this, get here. Okay, need you for this, get here. And then you're all the project.
Yeah.
You just didn't know it. Right on. And
What about
finally,
you, Jake?
shit. I don't know if I have any talents that would be useful. I'm gonna be frank.
She sneezed on
You're a
me.
great writer.
Yeah, I would love
seen
to.
the stuff you
I
write.
would love to be a part of the writing, but I think something that if I was going to explore anything, I would love to voice side characters or NPCs you only see once or twice.
That would be fun.
That'd be
fun.
awesome. Like especially if I had the opportunity to sort of like improv, like say in Cyberpunk, you're walking by a couple NPCs that are set to talk to each other, whatever. I would love to improv something comedic that the player could listen to as they're walking down the street or something.
You and Phil could have a chuckle fuck conversation.
Yeah. It'd be exactly like that. So I would love to get into voicing, and if it turns out I have a talent for it, then I would love to expand that to side characters that help the main character, or even eventually the main character at some point. I guess whatever.
Well, get practicing.
I would love to. Then my wife yells.
We
at me
have been on Ashes.
But,
I mean, because like
something I've been working on actually is I'm going to go ahead and move my camera here, and I would like to announce that I've begun work on the soundproofing.
Oh, hey!
A little bit of soundproofing I got set up. We're going to get more, and I'm going to go ahead and hook that up to the wall. So far, it works a treat, but it needs to be more.
Yes, Tiger. Lots of talking. We are ending here soon.
Square feet
this
set
is the
up,
last
and we
question
need
that we're going. Our last topic.
about 48 square feet, so
Yeah.
not too much.
yeah. No, I have a bunch of soundproofing titles myself, but this is not the place to be putting them up.
Yeah, no. So setting up
my
that
old
one.
roommate and I had actually built like a whole little studio area where we had one wall that was just covered in soundproofing, and then we put up a bunch of moving blankets to act as for the other two walls to help absorb sound. It was great.
Yeah, no. Once I get this all decked out, the streams are going to be more hype, because then I'll be like, "Fuck!" and then and then I can also get the practicing voices and whatnot, because that'd be really cool to be a part of. I would love to be a part of like that sort of side experience that memorable moments that players will pick up and be like, "That wasn't even part of the story, but that was a good joke," or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I guess I would love to write a story for a game and whatever. Bring me a concept and I'll work out the details.
You mean like the reference to The Office that was in Cyberpunk?
Yes.
In Japan, great surgeon.
Anyway, we gotta shut this down. My wife is getting upset that she can't go to bed. It is. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Board to Entertain podcast. It was a pleasure having Kayla here. I am your former host, Phil Millennial, aka Kusmo Crisano of the Seraph Fuckers. I am mixing all this up.
Yes, you are.
Kayla's over there like, what the?
I'm like, are you doing this on purpose?
Is this a bit? Are you having a stroke?
No toast.
Maybe. Okay. Boom, Impulse. This has been the Impulse podcast. Thank you so much for tagging along. And if you're watching this in the future and you're watching this part, either get back to the beginning, stop skipping shit, or thank you for listening to this point. That means you enjoyed it, which means you should hit subscribe, like all the fucking socials down below, especially charity stuff. We got our own fundraiser campaign going with all that good stuff. The links down below for the charities. We got 9 charity How many times am I going to go through this? Links down below for charities. Go ahead and check them out. There's 9 of them. We got 3 favorites: the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the Widow Warriors Project, and the Trevor Project. StrikeTeam.org. That is STRYKE team.org. One more time. That is team.org. StrikeTeam.org with a Y instead of an I. Go ahead and visit them. They help family members of U.S. veterans and whatnot, help pay the bills. And if you type !Ukraine in our chat, you can help bring medical supplies, food, and hygiene kits to the people of Ukraine. They're in desperate need of help right now. We've got our own $100 fundraiser going, organized by Streamlabs, charity.org. So big shout out to them. Hell yeah. Board to Entertain, go ahead and check his shit out. Don't sleep on him. He's one of the most underrated streamers of our day and age. Twitch.tv/Board to Entertain, Board to Entertain on YouTube, Board to Entertain on Twitter. Go ahead and peep him. That would be
on Twitter, yes.
Yes, on Twitter. Go ahead and check him out. Show some love to my brother Jaden. I had to stop. I knew I was gonna fuck it up, but I was like, you know what? I got this shit. And then Kayla was here too. Hooray, Kayla. No social points, but I'm super happy. I'm super happy to have her on the podcast. I look forward to more. We hit number 9. We did over 2
Number
months of
9.
the CasterSquared podcast. I am running out of ideas.
Well, if you talk to us before, like more than 2 hours before, we could help you come.
I
up
have
with
tried. No, I haven't. I will try.
Yeah.
I'll leave up a little poll or something. Anyway, let's not peel back the curtain too much. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for showing love. Thank y'all for showing support. And to the ethos of the internet watching in the future, thank you. And the ethos of the cosmos that may receive this information in weird quantum brainwaves or something like that. Fucking weird shit.
You're
That'd be
losing
pretty
the train
badass.
here, Jake.
Somewhere in the deep parts of outer space, we come in peace.
Be sure to stay frosty.
Boom! Impulse.
Boom. Impulse.
And Kayla's just wave. Hell yeah.
Later, dudes. No intro.